Hey everybody, it's your girl BondyBlue. Listen, Reset by Design Wellness is going to Bali in July 2025. This right here is our last trip that just went down in June in Phuket, Thailand. Girl, it was amazing. We stayed in a luxury villa. We did all of the things, girl. We took pictures, we ate, we swam. We was all in the ocean, girl. We was next to the mountains, okay? I'm actually excited because one of my homegirls from the retreat is coming through this afternoon, this evening, and I'm gonna, spend some time with her. That's actually her just there in the yellow. So I can't wait. I actually really love my girlie. So shout out to all of us from Reset by Design Wellness. You can become a part of the clique. Follow Reset by Design Wellness on Instagram and also check down below in the description box for the link to where you can sign up so that you can find out how you can get on this trip, girl. Okay, listen, I got stuck looking at the pictures because when I tell y'all I was living my best life out there, girl. Do you see the views? Do you see the views, girl? Did you see the views, girl? Do you see this? Okay, orchestrated for us. We don't have to do anything but show up, girl. Do a few little sessions to make sure you're not crazy or nothing like that. But ultimately, when I tell you a time was had, girl, a time was had. Let's get into the video. Come on in. Come on in. Come on in. Not come on in. Not come. Sorry, y'all. Y'all know I'm weird. Whatever.
Hey everybody, what's up? It's your girl BondyBlue. So let's go ahead. Let's go ahead. Hey everybody, what's up? It's your girl BondyBlue. Okay, follow me on Instagram and let's get into the video. Right?
Hey, everybody. Yeah. Okay. Listen, do y'all see? Hold on. Okay, listen, we are starting the lightning process. I am going back to blonde. Okay, I can't do dog hair no more. I tried. I'm going back to blonde, girl. Okay, back. Okay, listen, going back to blonde. Okay, my favorite color, the one I'm supposed to. This is cute too, though. This is cute. This little, this little reddish, bronze thing is giving. That's cute too. But we going back to blonde Bondy, girl. Oh yes, the locks will be blonde coming to a YouTube screen near you. Okay. I'm so happy to see everybody. Happy Saturday. I hope y'all are having a good day. I'm having a good day. Okay, girl. I'm feeling it. The locks are moving, girl. I'm feeling it. Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm so happy to see y'all. Thank y'all for being here. Make sure you like the video. Okay. Y'all know how YouTube like to play me like a soybean burger and, just be having me out here and y'all don't get y'all notifications. Y'all don't know when I'm live. They don't be promoting me like that sometimes. Cause I can say things that, upset the people. You know what I mean? My bad. I'm sorry, girl. I just be trying to tell the truth. But either way, we're going to get into the Cam Newton and Dr. Cheyenne Bryant of it all. We're gonna do a part one. Okay, so we'll be here for about a cute little hour and some change, as long as I can talk until I get tired. Okay. I might be going out tonight. I don't even know, girl. I don't even know. I might. I feel cute, so I might have to pop out and show niggas. I'm not exactly sure because I low key feel like chilling. Like, girl, I low key feel like finding something to watch and being drunk in my house instead of getting cute and going being drunk out in the world. Okay, girl. Okay, I don't know which one I'm at yet. Okay, but I definitely know I'm gonna be out in the world tomorrow, child. Okay, maybe this evening, I don't know. So I want to get into this, and I hope y'all are ready. Okay, we're not even going to hold y'all too long. Meet me in the city tonight. Okay, where you going? Where you going? Because I'm thinking about going to the K Michelle thing at hide and seek. I'm thinking about it because they doing like free ladies RSVP free before midnight. I'm thinking about going because that's where my homegirl and them are, thinking about going to. So I was like, I might come through to that little, you know what I'm saying? I might pop out. We don't know. I don't know yet. I don't know. We'll see. But either way, I'll definitely be out there. I'll definitely be out there in the streets. Okay. Maybe. With that being said, y'all, let's go ahead and get into this. Now, before I start, I want everybody to see me do this. Do you see me go to the settings? Do you see me press 1.25? Yes. Okay. Very don't have time to be sitting here listening to them at normal speed. Very much don't have the patience for that. Very impatient. You see how I did that? Okay.
The evolution of Dr. Bryant.
Yeah, totally.
Right? I'm intrigued because as I was doing my research, I came to I was like, yo, why doesn't this is probably the most mysterious, most discreet doctor I've ever seen, because she has so much like, yo, who is she? Has such a following, but no Wikipedia. I found that like so hard. I was like, yo, who doesn't have a Wikipedia? So I'm literally.
This is him already, I believe, trying to invalidate her as a doctor.
Really trying to find out certain things because I'm trying to go deep. You said, how deep we gonna go? I said as deep as the ocean floor.
Yeah, yeah.
So
he's rhyming. Anybody that's rhyming for no reason, be careful.
That's where I really want to kind of start. Where are you originally from?
I love that. I want to hit on the Wikipedia really quick. I don't have it because years ago, my team was like, let's do the Wikipedia. We got to do this. And my thing, again, was not for me to get into my field or even on TV with Teen Mom and co-produced shows that I produced to be a celebrity. And I'm not knocking celebrities. I did it again because for me, my purpose is, as a little girl growing up in the inner city, in the hood, to your question, growing up with abandonment issues, growing up with brokenness, and finding my way to use my platform, my books, everything about myself and everyone else's platforms, like your amazing platform, to be able to give those tools and pieces to little girls and little boys like me in the inner city, in the trailer park, I don't care where they are, who are just saying, why me and how, right? How? And so the celebrityness and the Wikipedia meant nothing to me, but the lives that I've been able to change from platforms, from being on TV, from being the president of the biggest and baddest civil rights organization, the kids who have been able to call me and say, Doc, you know, I'm in college, I've graduated, you know, I'm married with a family now.
So this is basically her saying, I don't need a Wikipedia page in order for me to be validated in what I do. The people who come to me and have been changed for the better because of my work, that's who validates me, not Wikipedia. She could have simply said that, but she's going to take us around the airport a few times before she brings this baby in.
Now, adults who are experiencing suicide ideations and mental breakdowns, who are saying, look, I'm not suicidal no more. I sold all my guns. That is my Wikipedia. That is my celebrityness. And that's my bigness for me. And so if Doc don't ever get a Wikipedia, I'm fine. But to that point, because of all the work I've done in the community, because of all the lives that I have happily been, you know, honored and privileged to change, my city, Los Angeles, has given me something that's legacy, that's, I believe, bigger than Wikipedia. My branch and myself and my founder, Joe Gatlin, we have our own street in the city of Los Angeles as a token of their appreciation for me coming in and giving back where I came from and what I've learned.
So you see me put it on 1.5. Very much don't have time for this. Very much long-winded. She is saying, I have a street in my name. I don't need a Wikipedia. Just further driving it home that him trying to invalidate her in any way, shape, or form is not going to work today. Okay. Backing it up.
In the sense of coming to a place of mental health and coming to a place of a good quality of life. So I'll take that any day. But I'm a little girl, product of teenage parents. My father was 16, mom was 15 when they got pregnant. And in the inner city, my dad was a hardcore gangster, dope dealer in the streets. He's a founder of one of the biggest Pyro gangs in Los Angeles. My mom was also, a gangster in the streets alongside my father. They were high school sweethearts, met at 10 years old. About 2 years old, when I was 2, my dad went to jail for murder and selling dope. And by the time he got out, he did his case, thank God. By the time he got out, they told my father my mom was selling 8-tracks. And back then, he thought 8-tracks she's selling 8-tracks, the record albums. She drops him off to a gym to work out, and she takes his car, and she never returns. He calls his brother, and he says, yo, Kim hasn't came and got me. Is she okay? Where's she at? Come to find out, she wasn't selling 8-tracks. My mom was doing the drug that my father was selling. And so as a little girl, coming from that, growing up with a lot of questions of abandonment, and I even was questioning God, saying, I just don't understand, why. And I know for sure, it's not just kids that.
So I want to stop right there, because what you just told us is your dad was a drug dealer that went to jail. So why she acts as if in her interview and some of the things she said about her father when she was talking to Nick Cannon, she acts as if her father made it so that she doesn't have daddy issues. And I feel like, girl, just because he came back into your life and y'all now have a good relationship, or you grew to have a good relationship with him, it does not mean that he did not leave you in a broken situation. He did not give you daddy issues. He absolutely gave you daddy issues when he decided to go to jail for murder and selling drugs. And then your mom gets caught on the drug that he was selling. And I love the way she said it, as if one didn't have anything to do with the other, when we know a lot of the times back in the day when these girls would get on drugs, it's because they would get it from these niggas. Not just that the woman went and just found the drug on her own, but that she was with a nigga that was selling the drug and they was partying. And it depends on what they was doing. So the time frame we talking about the 80s, I would assume, and I could be wrong. I'm open to being wrong, but I would assume you're selling crack, cocaine, dope, weed, you're selling all of the things. You are also partying during that time. This is the 80s. People that sold cocaine also did cocaine because cocaine was considered a party drug. People didn't necessarily get caught on cocaine. They used cocaine, which is why a lot of celebrities these days, you will still hear them, they still play with the powder because it's a party drug. It's something you can do and then go back to your life and let it go. For some people, for other people, it can translate to a real addiction if they're doing it all the time so that they can stay up for whatever reason they need to stay up for, i.e. Whitney Houston performing all the time, needing to stay up and have that same energy level all the time. Yeah, you would start to do a drug that would make you stay up. Okay. And then it would become a habit and then you would become dependent upon it after a while. And then your health would decrease. That's how that would happen. In this situation, it seems as if your dad and her could have been partying, trying shit. She gets on it. He goes to jail. She's trying to deal with the loss or the depression of him not being there anymore. So now she starts doing the drugs to cope. And then once you start doing the drugs to cope, now you start trying other shit because that high ain't hitting no more. So let's try this new shit, i.e. crack. People got caught on crack because they thought it was going to be the same experience as cocaine, which is something people were able to function on. You can't function on crack. Not really. You might be able to for a little while, but eventually it's going to show through. A lot of white boys in Wall Street, that happened to them during the 80s as well. They were doing coke. Crack came out and was least expensive drug that was a derivative. So people thought that they could do crack to the same level that they did cocaine, and they found out it was not the same. So when she even says this, now this invalidates everything that she said about her upbringing as it pertains to her father.
That question, this adults also question God with certain situations that they have, especially when it comes to being a child who's experiencing abandonment, who grew up to be an adult, who's now experiencing that little boy, little girl in you, who's abandoned. Me asking God, like, why I'm confused, right? And him explaining to me, baby, the only way I can give you an understanding of why is if I give you the experience. And I said, I'm good, because words don't teach, experience does. And so for me, growing up as the oldest of 7, not having anyone in front of me to witness how to do life, how to get through this, I just went into prayer, supplication, and faith in myself and God, and I became very resilient. And at that point, I understood that life was a journey that was about self-growth by self, but about making sure that whatever God moves through me, he gives to me. So I want to make sure that whatever's coming out of me, I want to keep, 1. And 2, that whatever it is that I'm able to resolve or understand, or whatever pain pockets or trauma I'm able to navigate through, that I do have a duty, an unspoken oath to give that to any human, because it's a human right to have mental health and a good quality of life. And so that's my story in a very, very small shell. There's a lot more to it, but being a
she's very, very smart. Very, very smart.
Broken little girl, when you heal right and when you take the necessary steps to get your trauma in alignment with who you really are, good people come from that. Good people come from that. And so it gave me the ability to see good in people, but be a hybrid and not be naive to, excuse my language, the bullshit that trauma and the inner city and abandonment can create somebody to be if you're not careful with that.
Okay, Siri, stop the clock. Boom, right there. I just asked a simple question.
Yeah, and I gave you a simple answer.
That was not simple.
Mm-hmm.
That was a lot.
Yeah.
So you're from Los Angeles, California?
I'm from LA.
Okay.
Yeah. I just nipped in all the other questions you was going to ask all in one. I'm making your job easier. Shit.
Listen, I've already watched this. I've already watched this interview in full. So I know how she pedestalized her father and said that he saved her from having daddy issues, which is why I'm clocking this. So for everybody that feels like, oh no, she's just saying, this comment right here, it doesn't challenge her argument. She healed and she forgave. No. This comment right behind yours. She pedestalized her dad, but shames her mom, right? So when you have the mentality that one person is at fault and the other is not, even though they are both at fault, you have a blind spot, right? So that means in her blind spot, even though she is a very intelligent woman, very, healed in all of that, her focus to me on marriage, her focus on finding a partner to marry in order to it's a blind spot. It's a blind spot. And I'm gonna point it out when I showcase it, because it'll show inconsistencies. And that is what I'm pointing out. That's the inconsistency. You can't tell me that your father did not give you daddy issues and then tell me that he went to jail for selling dope and murder, and then your mom ended up being on dope. Like, you can't tell me that. To me, that makes me understand that in some way, yes, you are male-centered. You are viewing your father in some way as a savior, and you are demonizing your mother, which means you're not going to actually see how these relationships are taking place. You're not going to see them clearly because you have a blind spot. So you can be healed and all of that shit, but healing, there's never a end point. Healing is a process. It doesn't matter that she has went through all of these things in order to, matriculate and present herself in such a way. At the end of the day, she still has a blind spot. She is still working on herself like we all are. I still have blind spots. I'm still working on myself. I still am acting out in ways based off of my childhood. No matter how I'm trying to move through and around and see it before it's coming, life will still come at you. And she will say it herself, that she has to have these relationships or go through whatever she's going through in order to showcase that she is healing, that she is evolving beyond something, is by actually encountering it. So she and I are going to agree at certain points. Please understand. But also hear that this woman is male-centered, male-identified, wants marriage because she feels like marriage is going to clean up what her mother fucked up. I really do feel like she in some way blames her mother for her family not being a perfect family unit, even though her father obviously had a huge part in why. So we'll keep going, but I just want y'all to, I've already watched this. So I have my thoughts already. We just going through it so I can point out the things to y'all. Okay. Breakdown. Continuing.
Extremely. I was like, I just wanted to know where you was from. I was just going back to the wiki.
But you should know this, Cam, because I was told you have a great relationship with your father, that asking somebody where they're from is also asking them about who is connected to where they're from. And for me, I stand on the shoulders of my father, Darren, my mother, Kim, my grandfather, Bailey, and my grandmother, Mariah. So for me to say where I'm from without saying me standing on their shoulders is an incomplete narrative. And so I can't say that without saying I come from them, who I'm standing on, and this is the product of it.
I get it.
Yeah.
But I was just...
I'm going to tell you why I know that in some way she blames her mother. It is because she only gives credit to her father. She did not mention much about her mother besides her mother being on drugs. There was not much mention of her mother. It was more so about her father. And when she did mention it, to me, her saying that I want my family, dynamic to be my husband, then my kids, God, my husband, me, then my kids. That right there, that means that she really wanted that relationship between her parents to work out. She feels like the only thing that would have validated her is her mother and her father being married. And in some way, the way she talks about her mom, it comes off as if she is blaming her mom for why there was no marriage between the two of them, invalidating her as his child.
Trying to,
but we there. So
say
where
less.
we going? We there. So let's drive. Let's drive.
So
and stay. Where we going?
The question is, with me doing my research, educated, highly educated, very articulate.
Thanks.
So I'm really curious to know this question: were your parents married?
They were not.
They were together, and do you think that had any type of impact on the woman that you are today?
Oh, 100%. Absolutely.
Well, how?
Yeah. I love that question.
This is him using the fact that he comes from a two-parent household with his parents being married as a way to discredit her, right? Off rip, Cam is letting her know, I come from a better family than you because my parents were together, yours were not. So when you start to dictate whatever you're going to say, I'm going to be able to undermine it, because essentially I feel like me not coming from a broken home makes me better than you, even though she's about to prove him wrong. That's why I said her interview with Nick Cannon versus her interview with Cam. You're going to agree with her in most of this interview. But when you go watch her interview with Nick Cannon, you will see underlying problems.
Impacted me in a lot of broken ways, but it impacted me in a lot of really healthy ways. Contrast, which is something most people don't like, really is our best friend. And so I always say as a little girl, no pun intended to everyone who raised me, but I saw a lot of contrast. I saw a lot of who I didn't want to be like, And so what that did was, and this is for the people who don't know where you want to go, don't know who you are, but you know you don't like your environment, you don't like where you're at. This could be at any age. I always say it's not where you're running to that'll get you there. Oftentimes it's what you're running from. And for me, it was me running from my contrast, saying, I don't want to be that, or that. I don't know who I want to be at this point. When I was a younger, I don't know where I'm going, but I put my track shoes on, Cam, tied them up, and y'all may see these really pretty heels on today, but I say it every day, my track shoes will never come off, because me running from that has gotten me to a place of, you know, as you said, and thank you, being very educated, to being able to take care of my mother and my family, to being a doctor, to doing things that broke so many generational curses. But it also created
being able to take care of my mother. See, here's the thing. She loves her mother. Please don't misunderstand. But there's a part of her that is obviously resenting her mother for who she has to be to her mother. Now, does that mean she doesn't feel as if she's grateful for that because it pushed her to be who she is? It's all encompassing. Everything doesn't have to be one of the other. You know what I'm saying? You could very much resent your mom and hate the fact that she was a drug addict and you have to take care of her, but also be grateful for the fact that she's still in your life and that you are able to take care of her because you love her. Those things can happen at the same time.
A very broken young girl. Which caused me to have to just self-reflect and take inventory on why do I behave like this, and why do I show up like this, and what is it rooted to, what is that associated to? And so for me, getting to the seeds of my harvest allowed me to really have a sense of self, of who I am, and where to come from. And then really quick, and when you do that, it allowed me to have this intense forgiveness for my mother and her addiction, because finding out who I am helped me really understand who she was. And it helped me have compassion for trauma when I started to understand how hard trauma was for me. And I wasn't even addicted to anything but my trauma, because that's all I knew. And so it's magical when you start to take the finger from here to here to here and then to here, because you get to understand you, and understanding you, you start to really have compassion for everybody, because there's nothing about me, if I understand me, that you haven't similarly either felt or experienced, where I can't connect and have compassion for you in that pain pocket or in that trauma. So it's a blessing.
So basically what you're saying, you're the epitome of, she's a runner, she's a track star. She can run away from this home.
Why does he have to be so infantile? Like, oh my God, just so immature.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I was definitely, I had to learn. I love that. That is so on point. You're 100% on point. I definitely have been the run of the track star. I had to learn. I spoke about this earlier with my makeup artist, Felicia. I had to learn what running, not running looked like. See, I didn't have to learn how to get away from you because you wouldn't treat me good. I didn't have to learn how to make sure you respected me and you showed up solid, because I was going to pivot, right? Pivot and running. That's my first nature. I've been doing this all my life. I had my track shoes on. I came into the relationship with my track shoes on, and I went to bed with them with you. So they're not like they was ever off. I had to learn how to stay and evolve with. I had to learn that commitment is not a feeling, and that when I'm triggered, I have to stay committed to what I said I was going to do, regardless of how I feel, regardless of where this relationship or this conversation triggered or took me in my pain. I couldn't let my pain tell me it's time to leave this Negro and sabotage. I had to let my healthy self say, wait a minute, let me overpower the pain, because the healing is going to say, do you want to be here? The pain is going to say, you need to be here. And healed people want, pain people, trauma people need. And so for me, my trauma needed me to detach so I can be okay, because I was coming in broken already. And I had to learn how to be able to stay with my track shoes on, because they still on, but not get on the blocks, and be able to strut and take a walk. But it was a process of learning. And in my process of being a runner, it enabled me to call off 2 weddings. And glad that I made those decisions, but it helped me not stay longer where I wasn't supposed to be. So my running helped, but it also is a weapon.
So I would say it this way. I mean, you've obviously been vocal.
Okay. Inconsistency. So didn't I say I was going to be pointing out inconsistencies? When we talked about the Nick Cannon interview, and she talks about staying in, the only way to, for the marriages to work out is to stay in it no matter what. But then also tells you how she's been, engaged 2 times and all of that type of shit, but you're a runner. So the actual narrative, or the advice that she's given to everybody, is that you should stay in marriages and relationships no matter what, so that they work out, especially if you have children. That's what she's saying. But she's also saying that in her life, having her track shoes on and being able to run from situations that were no longer, no longer serving her, that actually was good for her. Do y'all see the inconsistency in that?
Cool. And talking about running away from things and doing this, it being trauma. Do you have a tangible source in your life, ever had a tangible source in your life that you can touch, see, feel, experience what true love actually is, a healthy relationship?
Yes.
Who is that?
Yes. My grandmother and my father. And now that my mom is sober, my mother. But in her addiction, it was my grandmother who raised me and my father, thank God, who didn't allow me to be a fatherless girl. And we were best friends.
No.
You're talking about a romantic relationship?
Yes. That relationship where we're talking about, the question was, were your parents married, right? And they weren't. So that having an impact on you, and that's why you strung them shoestrings up tight.
Yeah.
But I'm like, have you being who you are and knowing the right things and unpacking and this.
Knowing them now.
Yes. Have you identified someone
that was condescending? That was condescending what he just did. And so now what did I just say? Bringing it back to the fact that once again, you didn't grow up in a 2-parent household. You didn't see a healthy relationship. How do you know what a healthy relationship looks like if you don't have an example of it? Cam Newton is going to tell us that his mama went through hell, but somehow he thinks he knows what a healthy relationship between two people looks like because his parents are still together.
You can touch, that you can call, that that is what you want to be. Like, instead of running away from something, you running to something that you're like, I want that. And who is that for you?
So it is not an individual. No,
exactly.
It's still an ideology. It's still something that I've created in my mind. And so there's not a person that I look at and I say this very humbly, besides myself, because I've done a hell of a job of working through my pain pockets. I've done a hell of a job of getting myself to a place.
This right here, I totally agree with her on. I don't think any of us have seen the healthiest forms of relationships, but I think we've seen pieces that we can piece together and put in our mind and say, this looks healthy to me in comparison to this that I saw over here, this that I saw over there. Especially if you are an adult and, like she says, has done some work on yourself personally, you can see how working on yourself personally can help you be better in a relationship. And you can look at your parents and your aunts and your uncles and your grandmother and your grandfather. You can look at their relationships and see the things that worked and the things that did not work, if everybody is really being honest about what they're seeing. But a lot of times, y'all are not being honest about what y'all are seeing. Cam, you're not being honest about what you saw happening between your mother and your father, because you come off like somebody that has anger issues towards women. And if your mother and your father were in the same household together and you got to see them in this great relationship, I would have to ask, what did you see your mother do that upset you so much in order for you to have this type of angst towards women, this type of hostility? I feel like Cam has a certain level of hostility towards women, especially if he can't control them, right? So that makes me wonder, did you grow up watching your mother dishonor herself? Because what happens is you watch your mom dishonor herself, meaning you watch your dad kind of bully, disrespect, and you as sometimes will feel anger on your mother's behalf. As you get older, you start to get angry with her because she allowed it. And then you start to empathize with your father because you see yourself in him. And now you have relationships with women and you want to control what they're doing and you can't. So now you see what your father was upset about or what your father was trying to do with your mother. And now you see yourself in him, but you are still in some ways angry with your mother for not defending herself or not honoring herself in those moments when you were young and you felt the anger on her behalf. It's a very confusing feeling. It's a very, very confusing feeling. But it is how a man who grows up in a 2-parent household watching his parents be in that same type of dynamic is how he will grow up and still treat the women he's in relationships with like shit. He does not marry them. He does not honor them in the ways that his father honored his mother. Why would you do that? Why would you go and give women less than you saw your father give your mother? Why would you do that? Unless on some level you're angry with her. And if she did not abandon you, why are you angry with her? Because you had to feel her abandon herself. But you want women to continue to do that now because you see how that benefits you as a man versus being a child in the situation.
Place of thriving and no longer surviving. And so that person is me. I look at myself and I say, I want to be you. I look at myself and I say, you know, I love you. I look at myself and I thank that little girl for surviving. And then that little girl looks at that woman and she says, thank you for learning to thrive, because now I'm able to be a little girl and do the things I can do. And I no longer have to protect you as a woman and show up in your relationships, because there's no place for a little girl or a child in adult relationships, not just only romantically, but professionally. And so I would honestly have to say that that woman would be me, working through, conditions of love and coming to a place of self-love. Yeah, 100%. I am who I want to be.
Okay,
I'm
so
her.
this is a trigger for me.
Of course.
Because if you've never witnessed it firsthand, a healthy relationship, you find that source in yourself, which
Well, I never said I had.
That's the first thing I was thinking about. A little girl doesn't have a place in adult relationships. I was definitely thinking about Unprisoned and how that little girl would show up to defend Kerry Washington's character when she would not defend herself. You know what I'm saying? And that's why in my mind, I low-key was like, I don't know. I feel like the younger version of us is sometimes the purest version of us. And we don't need to act like a child, but we need to listen to the child in us sometimes, because they are speaking from a space of protection a lot of the times. But let's continue.
I haven't witnessed a healthy relationship. Is there a person, you
Tangible.
said, tangible source that I look at where I'd want to emanate or be like? No. I've witnessed healthy relationships, yes, and I've been in healthy relationships, yes. But anything that I've witnessed as far as a person that I want to be like or emanate, I don't have that. No.
So it's triggering to hear that, knowing that if things get shaky, rocky, everybody wants somebody so they can run off in the sunset with.
Keyword with.
Yeah.
Right.
But
right.
this is the thing though. And my mom is an angel. And I always love having real conversations with my mom. She's a church-going, God-fearing woman. All she knows is my dad.
Oh.
And
Angel, church-going, God-fearing God-fearing woman. That right there, that is to pedestalize his mother for being a servant. That is to pedestalize his mother for being the bigger person, for carrying the larger load, for being the bearer of abuse in some type of way. When you put a angelito, you want to be an angel, right? It is to pedestalize, but it's also to put a heavy burden on that person. And so to me, when he pedestalizes his mother like that, that is him virtue signaling to all of these women that y'all need to be the same way. I don't need to be like my daddy, but y'all need to be like my mama.
I use her for a source of wisdom, and she used me for a source to say hip.
Nice.
And she says this about relationships. Everybody wants to find a happy ending,
Right.
and they want to find heaven in a person, right? And run off in the sunset. But the reality is,
That's not real. That's the reality.
nobody wants to find somebody who's worth going to hell for. That's real love.
Yeah.
Because
Excuse me? So finding someone to be in heaven with, and this is why I tell y'all have to pay attention to the way religion is used against you, right? So religion, right? Religion gives you heaven or hell based on your decisions, right? Why the hell would somebody that is using religion, okay, as their pedestal, right? They're using that as their superiority. Why would they say that everybody wants the heaven? Everybody wants the good, but what really is love is the bad, the hell. Do y'all see how evil is good out here? Do you see how they flip that shit on you? Now, if God is telling you, and this is just based on the religion, right? If God is telling you heaven is what you need to aspire to, why the hell would you aspire to hell in your relationship? God said, try to get to heaven. God didn't say get to hell. God said, do what you need to do to get to heaven. And he's literally saying to us and to the women he's in relationships with that no, being willing to go through hell and despair for the love. That's real love. That right there, y'all, is how people use religion to manipulate you. Because in essence, a lot of religion is you feeling like you have to suffer in order to get to heaven later on. That the whole concept of heaven and hell, especially for Black people, slavery, all of these things, slavery Bible, look it up, is for you to not fight for your heaven on earth. So you will allow people to abuse you on earth with the misconception that when you die, all of your suffering will get you to heaven. You don't know if you're going to no damn heaven after you done did all of this suffering in this life. That nobody knows that. But y'all let other people tell y'all about God as if you can't have your own relationship with God. And so when they do that and present that to you, that is their way of trying to sell you an island in Ohio, bitch. Okay? Yes, all the rewards are supposed to come in the afterlife. That's what your slave master used to tell you. That's why I keep telling y'all it all goes back to slavery. Because when you are using a Bible given to you by slave masters to control the slaves, and then you use that same Bible as your moral superiority index when it comes to how you handle your marriages and your relationships, you end up putting the same slavery mentality on your marriages as they did on the slave master relationship in the Bible, telling you that being a slave is going to get you to heaven. That's the same thing that he's saying. Evil is good.
That's understanding that you're not a finished product.
Right.
You're worth finding the best version of you.
Of yourself, yes.
And you running away or not having a person in your life that can assist.
Oh yeah, y'all, it's the end of the month. It's the last day of the month. I gotta get my money. Y'all gonna get hit up with these ads in this video. You know, if you want not have ads, you know, you get YouTube Red or something. You know,
help you go to and say, girl, let me tell you, Tyrone, he doing it again. What do you do like when Tyrone ain't answering his phone and I know he say he at work, but I don't know. I done looked at the other girl Instagram and they in the same blah, blah, blah. You know how
I get what you're saying.
detective women can be. Like, I need the FBI need to hire more Black women because they gonna figure something out.
Right.
The Black woman I know, strong, very curious, detective, go gadget information. They gonna figure that out. But you not having that source in the time of need, not when everything's good. We don't need no more invitations to the wedding or to the anniversary or to the party or to this or to that. We need people who gonna help me when I need help in an unconventional or when the situation is not so much straight and narrow. Right. That's why it's triggering to me.
So let me hear you correct. It's triggering to you because what you hear me saying, which sounds like we have a little slight disconnect. What you hear me saying is that I don't have a go-to person when Tyrone, which I don't have a Tyrone, thank God, or something is off kilter in my world, that you hear me saying I don't have a go-to person or a resource that can help me process through that.
Correct.
Okay.
Or I can also add to that, you don't have a healthy ecosystem where I'll give you an example.
No, I got you.
Staying on point. Okay. It is quick. So
how are you going to tell her that she doesn't have a healthy ecosystem and you have it? See, that's what I'm saying, y'all. And that's why I was like, somebody in the comments want to talk to me about the definition of what a broken home is, as if it doesn't also have a judgment and social ramifications on it. Outside of it meaning a home where, you know, there is a divorce or a separation. Outside of it literally meaning that, it also means that you don't have the expertise in what is healthy because you didn't see it. But I had two parents in my household and they were married and they went to church. So I did. My house is not broken, even though I've gone to create all these broken homes and you haven't. For some reason, I am going to pass judgment on you because of your childhood and say you don't know what you're talking about. I'm going to discredit you based on that fact. So when we're talking about what the definition of a broken home is, I need for you to also include the social ramifications of what it is to call someone's home broken simply because it does not look like a conventional two-parent household. When a lot of times conventional two-parent households also break the fucking kids.
If I take a relationship serious with an individual, it's going to be hard for that individual to understand or to fight for something if her resources are single women.
I agree.
Are bachelorettes.
I agree.
Are divorcees.
Okay. So now what he's doing, this is another thing that y'all love to do. Men that love to pass judgment on single women. Okay. All right, hold up. Pass judgment on single women, right? So you can't have single friends if you're, even though he's single and all of the women he's in relationships with are single because nobody's married. And y'all, that's why I do not like that y'all don't want to hear that there is a difference between being in a long-term relationship and a marriage, because there is. Not that it actually has more value one way or another, but there is a difference, right? So he cannot act like he comes from a marriage husband superiority place, judging her single homegirls when she's single and he's single. That's why I said, nigga, you're not married either. You're not married either. So how are you going to pass judgment on, and I'm saying Jazzy because that's who he's with. You're going to tell Jazzy not to listen to her single friends because her single friends are not going to tell her to stay in a relationship and fight for it no matter what. Your single friends are going to say, girl, you don't have to deal with that. You can be at peace by your damn self. We can help you. You can take care of your baby. You don't have to deal with that. But see, your married friends are going to tell you to fight for your relationship no matter what. When I tell you, and you know, we'll get back to this in a second. Judge Mathis shit. He's out there talking to TMZ. And we'll talk about that in another video. But whenever people comment on the story saying that I hope they figure it out, I hope they get back together, it annoys me. It really does. Because I feel like it's y'all living in this delusional place where you completely forget the fact that them people were married for 40 fucking years. If trying to stick it out is not in 40 years, I know something. I feel like when a woman decides to leave a man with money after 40 years, she needs to get away from him. Nobody needs to hope that they work it out. Because what does working it out mean? Working it out means she stays and continues to suffer, and he pretends to be better for 5 minutes until he goes back to doing whatever he was doing before that made her want to leave. It doesn't mean he actually changes for a lot of y'all. Y'all just want people to stay together. That's all that matters to y'all. It doesn't matter if they're happy. It doesn't matter if he's actually giving her what's needed. It doesn't matter if she wants to be there. All that matters is that they stay together so that everybody else will see that this marriage stayed together.
I agree.
Are certain situations. And I'm like,
100%.
So they say birds of a feather flock together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You mean to tell me you're the only good girl out of all these?
And another thing, people give advice.
And since when does being single make you a bad girl? And what the fuck is that? Did y'all hear that? Oh, so because you the only one with a man, everybody else single ain't got no man, and you the only good girl? Nah, you ain't a good girl. You must be just like the rest of these slut shaming women because they single. Continuing to shame women because they're not attached to a man. Now, mind you, he has not married this woman, but for some reason, he feels like they're different from her single friends. She's not. She's not different from her single friends, except for the fact that she's willing to give up more of her peace for you in exchange for nothing but room and board that she could have supplied for herself.
From their results.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So every day we live in the results of our decisions. And so they're giving you advice on things they have experience in. If it's single, it's experience in being single. If it's married, it's advice from a married woman. So what I'm saying is, yes, I have a strong support system. I have a healthy ecosystem. I have people that I do go to, and the Bible says, do I seek wise counsel? Yes. And I have wise counsel within my world and within my foundation.
So now, you have them now? Or?
Yes, I have them now. Yes, I have that.
But when I just asked you.
No, that's not what you asked me, or how I received it was, is there anyone who I look to that I'd want to be like or admire? I don't have that. That person would be myself. But as far as a support system, not only do I have a therapist, not only do I have a pastor, not only do I have a mother, and I have a circle of wealth, which I call friends and support system, who, male and female, I'm single and married, who, that's why I said, some do have healthy relationships and some don't have healthy relationships, but they're all part of my ecosystem. Again, contrast, the person who doesn't have a healthy relationship is also teaching me things on what not to do and things I may not want to do. Folks like your mom, who are extremely wise, who, are still, I'm guessing from what you said, still with your dad. Right. She has a different perspective that definitely adds to, me processing through my journey, what that looks like. So I have a very equally yoked circle of resources.
I like how she did that. She literally said, I can look at somebody's relationship and see what not to do, like your mom. Now, she was acting like she wasn't really saying like his mom. She was saying like, oh, like your mom. Your mom has a specific perspective that I could definitely look at and see value in because she's still with your father, right? So there's something that must have worked out there because they're still together. But at the same time, the way she lined that up, it also means I could look at your mama and your daddy and see what I don't want in my relationship. Because look at what they gave. They gave birth to you, who's creating all of these broken homes. They weren't doing that great of a job. If we're going to tally it up the way Cam is trying to tally it up, oh, you didn't have a 2-parent household that was such a great example for you. Neither did you, nigga.
That helped me through whatever I'm going through for the clarity. But do I have somebody who I look to that I want to be like? That person is Dr. Cheyenne Bryant. Now, I want to
like that. You don't like the fact that she wants to be like the person she envisions herself to be. That's exactly what anybody should be doing. You should be envisioning yourself as the best version of yourself, whatever that looks like for you. Compile what that is and work towards becoming that person. That's what anybody should be doing in self-development when people are trying to evolve. The fact that he's making this face should let you know that he is never in a space of evolving or self-development, because he doesn't even know what that is she's talking about.
I want to respond to something. You said there's a lot of that Black women, and I know it was a joke, but being serious, Black women are women, folks would hire to do the detective investigative work. Mm-hmm. Because they're going to find out anything. They're going to be on social media, Instagram, cell phones, all that. They're going to piece it together. They're going to figure it out. See, that's a dysfunction that I'm talking about is an issue.
Okay.
And that's also when I'm referring to low functioning behaviors. That's a choosing issue. Mm-hmm. First of all, not that I'm better than any other woman or they're better than me. I'm not choosing a man that I have to become a detective to. Even the men I called off weddings from, to their defense, just because I called it off doesn't mean they weren't good men. I'm choosing men who I can be a wife or a woman to. I'm not choosing a man that I can be a detective to. So when women are choosing men, I think that certain things to become aware of are, do I have to go into my detective, which is my trauma? Do I have to go into my investigative, which is my dysfunction? Okay. Because if so, that man is triggering and bringing those things up. And he only brings those things up in you because those things are in him. Yeah. And start trusting your spirit more, ladies. And this is another thing. Women with daddy issues are going to be okay with being an investigator and a detective, because oftentimes, remember, they have learned subconsciously how to investigate and detective. Why is daddy not here in the household? So it doesn't make me say, why would they not grow up thinking the norm is to wonder where you're at, to wonder what you're doing, and to wonder why you're not there, and think that that's okay based on their norm of daddy issues. I have a father who we were best of friends, who was extremely, extremely involved in my life, a father, a daddy, everything. So I never had to wonder or investigate my father. I never had to wonder or investigate his motives with me. Mm-hmm.
And that's probably because he got out of jail before you were too old to recognize that, because you said he went to jail.
So I don't navigate the world thinking that that's the norm to try to figure out or investigate on social media, through your cell phone, through anything, what your motives are, who you are, what are you doing. That is an unhealthy relationship. That is your trauma and your pain choosing for you. And I would offer that any woman who's in that situation get help. Leaving isn't easy, and to learn how to choose different, learn how to choose better, because you deserve better. And let me go further. The man who you're investigating or you're feeling like you have to do these things with, and you can't just be in a safe space, you can't nest him, he also deserves better. And his getting better is you pivoting and leaving and telling him that he needs to get some help before he can be with a woman who is of your caliber. When I say your caliber, who's willing to get help for yourself, so you choose different. Daddy issues don't mean you got to be with your daddy. It just means you got to take inventory of what daddy who you didn't have looks like and stop choosing that kind of man. Next question.
She's absolutely right. I agree with everything that she just said. I have never been one to be all up in your phone and all of that shit. I have never been one for that. Even when I did have a cheating ass nigga and it was negatively affecting me, I wasn't looking for it. It revealed itself to me, and the way he was moving just let me know, what he was doing. And eventually I put all his shit outside. I didn't want him to go, but I wasn't about to let him play with me like that. And I'm not doing all of that with you. If you want to be somewhere else, I have too much ego. Go be somewhere else. Because I'm just saying, as a woman who did grow up with her daddy fully in the household from day one until the day he died, I have the ego of a grown ass man. And my ego tells me, if you think that you can play and I can't, you got me fucked up. Now, don't make me act out of character.
Y'all know I love going to live events, whether it's football.
I don't want what someone else has.
Okay.
Oh,
No,
I like what y'all have.
Right.
I want to emulate that.
Why does he keep going back to that? Why does he, how many times is he going to ask her if there is a marriage you saw that you wanted to have? Nigga, is there a marriage that you saw that you wanted to have? Because you're not married.
No, and it's not because what they have isn't healthy. It's because I have a strong sense of self. And I'm not knocking people who look to other people and say, I would like that, or I get what you're saying. There's nothing wrong with that. But I have a strong sense of self, and I don't want what someone else has. I want what is aligned in God's will for me is. And so I have a strong understanding that what's for me ain't gonna look like your healthy relationship. And if I get caught up in, I want that, or I want it to mirror that, then I may be looking and meeting my husband saying, you don't fit this box, which is called compartmentalizing. And my husband, who's God sending to me after all my work, doesn't need to fit a box. He needs to come authentically who he is. And my job is to love him where he is, how he is, and pray on the ways that I don't understand, because I'm not supposed to lean onto my own understanding. I'm supposed to trust God in all his ways. And when doing that, that means I'm not looking for anything externally to idolize. When I have myself in God and I know that who my husband is, I will feel it. I don't have to see it in someone else's world. And the other thing is we got to be careful with wanting what somebody else has from the optics, because it can look like we want this.
I like how she turned that Bible verse into something that actually made sense. Because some, hey, I tell y'all all the time, you study everybody's shit so you can see, what works and what doesn't. You take what works and you leave the rest. That's how I feel about most people's religions. I take what works and I leave the rest. That makes sense to me based on what I know. I can take that. What she just said, absolutely, when it comes to leaning on your own understanding. But there is also something in there talking about praying on the things that I don't understand. Yes, you're not going to always get along with people. When you find someone, they're not going to always look like a Morris chestnut, or they're not going, you know what I'm saying? They're not going to look exactly how you want it to look. So for a lot of women, it is about being selective, but also being open to possibilities when it comes to, wanting a partner and all of that shit. But a lot of what she is talking about to me sounds like a woman finding a man who she has now deemed as her, her husband. God done told her this is going to be her husband. So now she's going to accept bullshit so that she can have this man, because she can't lean on her own understanding, girl. If her own understanding is telling her this nigga ain't right, she can't lean on that, because something done told her inside that this is her husband. See what I'm saying? I can't. Girl.
Beautiful mansion, and we go in that house, excuse my language, that motherfucker's more homeless than people who sleep on the street. Because just because you got 4 walls and you have a marble floors and you have a gated home and you have a 10,000 or 20,000 square foot home doesn't mean that thing ain't more homeless than the person who's in a high-rise apartment, or a person who's in a single apartment living in downtown LA and they're a student who's poor. Okay, that has nothing to do with it. So I'd rather have a little apartment with my husband and baby, we got wealth, than be in a big mansion like a lot of people have done and be homeless in that thing. And I'm sitting here creating this image for my people to admire me, but I'm dying in the inside. When you talk about resources and people, I don't want no friends around me who can see me as a mansion, but let me die as a homeless person.
Oh.
No, that means I'm not looking for anything externally to idolize. When I have myself in God and I know that who my husband is, I will feel it. I don't have to see it in someone else's world. And the other thing is we got to be careful with wanting what somebody else has from the optics, because it could look like we want this beautiful mansion and we go in that house, excuse my language, that motherfucker's more homeless than people who sleep on the street. Because just because you got 4 walls and you have a marble floors and you have a gated home and you have a 10,000 or 20,000 square foot home doesn't mean that thing ain't more homeless than the person who's in a high-rise apartment, or a person who's in a single apartment living in downtown LA and they're a student who's poor. Okay, that has nothing to do with it. So I'd rather have a little apartment with my husband and baby, we got wealth, than be in a big mansion like a lot of people have done and be homeless in that thing. And I'm sitting here creating this image for my people to admire me, but I'm dying in the inside. When you talk about resources and people, I don't want no friends around me who can see me as a mansion, but let me die as a homeless person internally. I'm good. And nor do I want to.
But I would like for you to know that that's what the married friends are going to do. That's what the married friends are going to do, girl. When he's sitting up there talking about, having the married friends and not the single friends, because the married friends going to make you fight for the relationship and all of that, then women will watch you be miserable in a relationship, but tell you it's going to be all right. And he love you and that's your husband and y'all should work it out. Whatever that looks like, be miserable, stay in it. So she's saying that, and that's probably why she's not married right now, because she's not going to just take any old thing. But she is promoting. She is promoting and advising a certain level of illusion and delusion when it comes to marriage.
To be the woman who says, I want what Cam and this woman has, not knowing that when this woman goes wherever she's going, she's really speaking the real about what y'all got going, but she's not going to tell me because she wants me to keep feeding her trauma, which is that mask and that costume she's wearing to make people think that relationship is good. I'll pass. I'll take.
Which is what Jazzy is doing. She right now she's talking about him and Jazzy. Yeah, you got her in that mansion, but she in that bitch crying. She in that bitch in pain. Okay, she's not happy. I would rather be over here with my imagination, what my imagination has created for me that I'm actually happy with, before I end up in a mansion crying like Jazzy with you. Okay, so I hear what she's saying and I agree.
What God has for me, and I will continue to pray for those who I see have a healthy relationship and support them. But I don't want nothing nobody has, because it's not mine. And if it ain't yours, y'all, you can't keep it. You can't sustain it. So stop wanting things that ain't yours. Stop wanting things that don't belong to you. That's called despair. Get you some help. Get you some healing, get you a sense of self, and start wanting things that are yours. And then you may not end up with a man who's beating your ass because you thought he was putting her on jets and buying her Birkin bags and taking her to nice restaurants when she was going home getting her ass beat. But you wanted it though, right? Be careful what you ask for. Start asking God, reveal to me what I'm saying I want, so I understand the transparency of it. God, reveal to me what's mine, so I can have that. And I don't end up praying to you to get out of it. And I don't rush to the altar just to become a divorcee or a baby mama or a baby daddy.
Even though I don't see anything wrong with being a baby mama or a baby daddy, I think it's how you handle yourself, and it's the social connotation that y'all put on it. At the end of the day, people have children. People don't always have to sign up to get married to somebody. Y'all act like those two things are exactly in the same because they happen together. Y'all act like it's the same amount of sacrifice or it's the exact same thing, and it's really not.
We don't want what nobody else has. We want what's ours, because that is good enough. I caught that pic.
You caught the pic. Just because you talking loud.
I wasn't loud.
Just because your voice is inflected.
I wasn't loud.
Just because you're leaning forward to your camera.
I wasn't loud.
Doesn't mean you just caught a pic.
I'm talking to my people.
No, she caught a pic. She caught a pic because she was talking to you and your baby mama. That's why she caught a pic.
I'm talking to my people.
All I'm trying to say is you took something completely out of context when I said your resources around you that you said.
Yes. We cleared that up though.
Yeah, but the resources that you have.
Keep going back to it. Keep going back to it. But you didn't have a 2-parent household. Just keep saying that. He keeps saying it in different ways, but all he's saying is you didn't come from a 2-parent household.
Have around you of healthy relationships.
They are.
Not that you want that. You said, you took what I said, and yeah, I said I want that, but it's not I want what they have.
I don't.
It's more of an admiration for what they have. And it's like, like I admire that about their relationship.
There you go. Now, hold on. Because the latter part, I have single girlfriends I admire how they are as women. I have married girlfriends who I do admire their relationship, meaning I love that it's healthy for you. I love that you and him
but
are
you're talking about
this.
mansions and beating and all that. I ain't mentioned none of
You felt triggered because she's talking about your ass. You over here making it personal. You over here talking about my shit. That's what that was.
Hold on, Cam. If it went over your dreadlocks, bring it back.
Yeah,
Let's
but
stay
you're
here.
talking about you catching pics, but you just over here you on a TV timeout.
Cam, we're not on the football field. Let's bring it back here.
Yeah,
I took it to the football field. I'm sorry. We're back here. I brought it back, baby. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. It's okay.
I'm not fleeing. I'm here.
Say less.
I'm here. Yeah.
So all I was saying is you saying that that's what I like is more of a wordplay to saying I admire what they have and I want to implement that into my relationship as well. Single people can't coach relationship people. And I think that is
There
what
it is.
happens.
Single people can't coach relationship people. Also, now we are differentiating between being single and being in a relationship, not single and married. Is that right? Now, when it's convenient for you, it's going to be about your parents being married and being in the church and shit. But now that we're talking about your shit, now it's in a relationship versus single. Aha. Goalpost continues to move.
Too often. So when I'm asking questions about resources, when I'm asking questions about you, hard yes for a married man, I'm saying I'm triggered when I hear that as a man. When I ask you, do you have healthy marriages that you've
Why are you triggered? Why are you triggered by that? You're not even making sense.
seen, witnessed, been a part of, or admired? And you clearly said no.
And I clearly said yes. But my admiration doesn't go as far as, in your exact words, I would want that. No, I don't want anything that somebody else is. I want to help them have more of the good stuff. Okay. But in the sense of, you know, again, people who are doing well, married or not. But I want to go back to what you said is triggering to you, because I love that you said that. And a lot of people think that, you know, and it's not wrong. I get it. You know,
Mr. Brave, you're about to get blocked in my comments. Stop it.
Single woman, or even a woman with no kids, how can she coach or therapy a woman who is a mother? Or a single woman, how can she coach or therapy or help or be a psychologist with people who are having marital issues?
You're single.
I'm single.
Okay.
Yes, I'm single. And so I love what you're saying, because I don't know what other therapists, psychologists, or coaches do, but I don't coach married couples. Stick with me. People come to me who are married. I'm helping each of them process their own stuff. Because what a marriage is, and Mama will know it because she's a church woman, and from what you said, she said beyond wise, right? And even what she said about marriage, everybody want to go to heaven, but you know there's a lot of hell in it, and love that she said that. Marriage, like the Bible says, is cleaving. Cleaving does this. Cleaving does this. Cleaving doesn't do this. And so when people come to me married, they're doing similar to Mama's statement. They're coming to me like this. And so I'm not counseling married couples. I'm counseling individuals who are coming with so many issues within themselves that they married on paper, but they ain't never even had a chance to be married mentally, emotionally, spiritually, sexually, intellectually in any way. But what happens is, as I help them as individuals process through their traumas and their pain and their intergenerational issues, they magically either usually cleave, or not many, but some, depart. Because you cannot cleave without shedding. And the shedding that cleaving takes is the shedding.
And this is where my problem comes in with her. Thank you, Erica, for saying this. Relationship advice from the Bible isn't for the benefit of any woman. I am sorry, y'all. You can cherry pick from the Bible what works for you. As I said, I don't see any problem with that. But essentially, my therapist better not ever be talking to me from a Bible when it comes to my relationships. Because she's only going to tell me to do what the Bible tells women to do, and that's to stay and work it out. It's never to divorce or leave. Okay? That's never what the Bible is telling any of the women to do. It is to stay and to cleave. Okay? As she said. Now, I agree with what she's saying. As a therapist, my job is to help an individual person, and the things that harm relationships are sometimes our own individual problems. So if I can help a person deal with their problems, and that can make them better in their relationship, easier to deal with their partner, then I've helped their relationship. What Cam is saying is stupid, because he just wants to continue to discredit her off the basis that she's single and she didn't grow up in a two-parent household. Even though he's single, and even though he might have grown up in a two-parent household, it doesn't really seem like he's giving his children that same opportunity. So
shedding of your stuff, your ego, your emotions, your trauma, your pain pockets. And when you shed of that, the cleaving was already waiting there for you. So it's not.
I'm sorry. Hold up, y'all. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, not this comment. Where is the comment? Where'd it go? The Bible tells women to leave if there's adultery very clearly. So can you explain to me why most women accept adultery from men in our society? Can you explain that to me? Because you're gonna act like that's totally separate from the Bible? That the reason that women stay with men no matter what, that's totally separate? Like the whole thing about Eve is a judgment of the woman. Anytime the woman does something that the man or God did not tell her to do, all of the world's ails are her fault. So essentially, I'm trying to understand why, if the Bible tells women to leave when men cheat, why is it that women never really leave when men cheat?
Not that anyone, even other therapists, are teaching married people how to cleave or be married. They're really breaking down the barriers that people have that are keeping them from being loving or in love, or like mom said, keeping them from going not only to heaven, but sometimes taking that detour to hell just to get to.
I'm sorry, sweetheart. Adam was not blamed for what Eve did, sweetheart. If you actually read the Bible, you'll know that God didn't even tell Eve not to eat from the fruit from the tree. God told Adam, then laid his dumb ass down and made Eve. But I mean, that's if you believe all of that shit is real. So that's up to you.
To heaven again, just to get back to hell, to get back to heaven. Yeah. And so I don't teach them how to be married, because I don't think that's something that can be taught. I think that comes through each individual marriage couple, because there's not one way to do it. I'm helping them break down the barriers that are keeping them from what they really want, which is to be safe, to be in love, to go to this heaven space, but to learn how to have the bandwidth to get through the journey of hell that comes as well.
Yeah, I must ask this question because I'm a product of this.
Yeah.
Has your profession affected your outlook on a relationship?
100%.
How?
My husband will be very, very grateful to all of my clients these past 16, 17 years, because my female clients have helped shape me to have more compassion. It has helped shape me to have better understanding of the pressures and the seasons that come in motherhood, that come in marriage. And my male clients, particularly my Black male clients, the married ones, have really gave me insight on the weight that comes with being a husband, being a father, how much they really are giving their all and trying their best, but it looks different to her. And so learning how to read and communicate, Cam, what does it mean when you text me randomly throughout the day and just say, what are you doing? Is that a message? What are you doing? Is that a message where you're just trying to tell me, baby, I love you, but you didn't say the words? So if I know that what are you doing means I love you, as your wife, the Bible says, love you by knowledge of you, not understanding, knowledge. I now know how to code that. So that helps me not personalize, but you ain't doing it my way. But you didn't say, I love you. And you saying, but baby, I say what you're doing, and that means I love you. So my clients have helped me dissipate my ego. And they have helped me not only gain a sense of self, but understand the different languages that men can speak. Also, it's allowed me to have more compassion and break my...
And I hear her on that. And I agree with her about that, about how we hear things versus how people are really saying them, and how sometimes it's hard for people to communicate what they actually mean. But I also feel like, why is the onus always on the woman to be doing all of this figuring it the fuck out? If I can tell you exactly what I need and what I want, if I say, when you ask me what I'm doing, it makes me feel like you just questioning me versus asking me how I'm doing because you love me. Can you just say you love me? That's a simple conversation. Why do we have to argue about, that's a simple conversation. Then from now on, I'll be like, hey, babe, how you doing? I was just checking on you, see how your day was going. It's not that hard. I understand what she's saying, but it's another example of how y'all expect women to do all of these fucking backflips in relationships. And, he's trying his hardest, but she isn't perceiving it that way because you're not doing it my way. Yeah, I get that. I totally get that. But then there's another side of that, weaponizing competence, doing shit the wrong way on purpose so that she'll say, never mind, and she'll do it so you don't have to. There's another side to that. So no, a lot of times what I am hearing is y'all always relying on women to be doing all of these fucking backflips and be in a constant state of calm and understanding while y'all get to not know how to do shit and then have conniptions when you can't figure it out because you're a man and it's so frustrating. But she got to stay calm. Baby, it's okay. It's all right. No, calm down. Fuck you. You figure out how to regulate your own emotions sometimes, nigga. That's the adult thing.
My fairy tale ideology that women have. I always say this: men get married and become a father and go, oh, shoot. Okay, I didn't know it was going to take all of this. Game time. Let me try to figure this out. Let me try to see if I can do this and do that and get the car and do this and love her more and balance all this. Women, we meet you and we're like, our idea and our fairy tale is you are Prince Charming, honey. And then we try to get you to fit Prince Charming. And the more you don't fit it, the more y'all end up in my office going, but he doesn't do this. Well, has he ever did it? No, but I always just thought my husband would. Your husband or this man? So are you getting to know who you with? Or are you making this man fit this fairy tale ideology that doesn't even exist anyways? And so women come and lead with fit this, or you have no value. Men come in and go, all right, I'm here and I'm going to learn how to be the best I can for you. And then women do what? You're taking too long. You're not getting there because you haven't fit the box of the fairy tale. So for me, it's helped me break down what all of my clients know. Y'all know I call it the fairy tale ideology. And I'm not exaggerating, Cam. I want to say 100%, but I'm going to go 99.9% of women who come in my office, I'm having to work on breaking their fairy tale ideology of their husband. And hold on, let me say this. To his defense, they almost always have an amazing husband. But because his amazingness doesn't fit her idea of amazing, guess what? He ain't shit to her. And remember, I have no emotional investment besides I really want them to get this work through.
So, okay. So understand how going to a therapist who already feels like most of the men are great, the women just don't see that they're great. Girl, I can't go to no therapist like that. That remind me of Yandy and Mendices. You know what I'm saying? Like this nigga is literally showcasing he don't give a fuck about this woman, yet y'all still want the woman to continue to beg for him to care, even though he's showcasing he doesn't care. So now you got a woman right here that's already telling us that the way she handles her clients off rip is that the men are great guys, but the women have a fairy tale in their mind and they want the fairy tale. I agree with her about that though. Women do have a fairy tale. Who's been giving it to them all these years? Y'all act like women just pulled this shit up out of our ass. There's a system in place that keeps women in a constant state of delusion. Y'all lie to women and perpetrate so that women will stay in a constant state of delusion. What did Dick Cannon say about how he manipulates and pretends to be the consummate Christian man and everything that the woman wants, and then he flips it on her? You were upholding her state of delusion when it benefited you. And then when it no longer benefited you, now she's responsible for the fact that she didn't know it was all a fairy tale. Do y'all see how crazy that is? And how you can't just put that on a woman for living in a delusion, but you also have to put it on the man for presenting the delusion in the first place? Because everybody act like, you know, these women just want shit from men out of nowhere. No, a lot of the times these men showcase what they want you to see.
Do this, I'm going,
Vice versa.
so because he don't fit your tone of red, you gonna tell me this man still ain't red?
He burgundy though.
You see what I'm saying?
You know, he there. Drinking and driving is a decision that could change your whole world. Things will never be the same.
We're all human, we ain't perfect.
Two things that I really want to ask or must ask in this situation. First, in regards to the women, I don't really want to attack or, you know, really speak on your clientele, but obviously with my research, you spoke about low functioning individuals, male and female. What's the percentage of males or females that you counsel that are low functioning? What's that percentage?
Love it. Collectively, or you want me to go male and female?
Break it down from male and female.
Okay. I would say, interesting enough, I would say that there are 70% low functioning women, 40% low functioning men.
What? What?
Okay.
Yeah. Now,
go back.
Two things that I really want to ask or must ask in this situation. First, in regards to the women, I don't really want to attack or, you know, really speak on your clientele, but obviously with my research, you spoke about low functioning individuals, male and female. What's the percentage of males or females that you counsel that are low functioning?
Why would you even ask her that? He is in a constant state of competing with this woman for like you know, who's more valid, right? That's what he keeps doing. Everything in this interview is him constantly trying to compare himself to her so that he can discredit her. And that also puts him in a space of this male-female thing, right? So why is he asking her what's the percentage of men and women to you and how they are functioning? Why? What's the point of that? Let's listen.
What's that percentage?
I love it. Collectively, or you want me to go male and female?
Break it down from male and female.
Okay. I would say, interesting enough, I would say that there are 70% low functioning women, 40% low functioning men.
What? What?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, with those low functioning men, did they ever say that a man of high function will never really know true love?
No, I don't even believe that, but no.
Okay. So what identifies a woman to be high functioning?
A high functioning woman is a woman who wants you. She doesn't need you. And let me clear that up. When I say she doesn't need you, it doesn't mean she's independent. That means she is interdependent. I only not need you because my pain doesn't need your pain. My dysfunction doesn't need your dysfunction to feed it for us to be in this relationship, meaning I don't need a trauma bond with you, okay? She wants you because she wants the healed part of you, but has the capacity, because we're all human, we ain't perfect, to facilitate and deal with the unhealed part of you that's gonna show up in the relationship at some point. And hers is gonna show up too, mine is gonna show up too. And so that's why I always say, I want a hybrid. I want a hybrid for y'all.
So I'm trying to understand how you get 70%. So it's a larger percent of women that are low functioning and I'm sorry. Yeah, higher percentage of women low functioning and a lower percentage of men that are high functioning. So she thinks that most men, and this is because her concept of what high functioning is to need a person, is to want a person, not need them. So technically, y'all, I am a high functioning woman. One of the first things I told my husband was that when we first got together, that I want you, I don't need you. Everybody was so upset that I said that to him. I don't understand why. I feel like it's more important for somebody to want you than to need you. So based on that, what she's saying is most of her clientele, the men have money, so they don't need the woman for anything because anything that the woman is providing, they can go and get somewhere else. The women need the men for financial support. So the women can't just go anywhere else and get the financial support. That's what she's saying. So to me, you're saying high functioning equals I want a person, I don't need them. That's the only thing that qualifies as high functioning as far as what she's saying. And in that way, I feel like that's not an accurate description of someone that's high functioning. She will eventually change her definition of what high functioning is, because then eventually high functioning will be somebody that is working on their triggers and trying to heal and trying to evolve. And I'm sorry, but I don't see more men in that space than women. I do not see more men in self-help and in evolving and growing as a person than women. I feel like women are especially Black women, in a constant state. Even when I was growing up, my dad was a book reader. He was always trying to advance his intellectual mindset. My mom was always trying to advance her emotional, her spiritual mindset. She read books about self-help and evolving of your spirit and all of that type of shit. My dad just learned how to push everything down and go to church. To me, when it came to functioning emotionally, my mother was functioning emotionally in a more genuine way than my father, because my father was always barely keeping a lid on what was bubbling underneath. Her definition of high functioning is off to me, skewed.
Out there who want to know, meaning a man who's high functioning enough to meet my healthy high functioning, but low functioning enough to deal with me when my abandonment inflames, to deal with me when some of my dysfunctions that I'm still working on inflame. Because if he's too high functioning, guess what? He doesn't have the bandwidth to deal with the low functioning part, which then means he can only connect with folks who are not being fully authentic within themselves. Meaning you may have a loving relationship, right, but you won't have a real intimate, deep, vulnerable relationship.
Which means her numbers are based off of the fact she's seeing more women than men. So that's another thing. But the way she said it, it sounds like if you're seeing an equal amount of men and women, then more men are high functioning than women. That's what that would sound like. When really, in the grand scheme of things, how is that to be so when technically there are more women who are trying to be high functioning, they are trying to get their shit together by coming to you in the first place than men?
I'm a woman who seeks connection and vulnerability. I'm not into casualties or casual sex, just TMI or not, meaning I like the depth of things. And so I need you to see me. I need you to see my broken. I want you to see my heart, whatever that comes with. And I'm not embarrassed about it. I'll tell you about it. I'll show it to you. And I'm okay with a man who can facilitate it. But what a high functioning man may do is if he's all the way high functioning, he has already cut off the side of him that is authentic, and there's a superficialness there that won't allow him to connect with a real person. So can he still love and experience love? Yeah, love has it just loves everything. But will he experience the depth of some of the wholeness of love, meaning the down, the up, the ugly, the heaven, the hell mom was talking about? No. And let me say this really quick. And this is why trauma bonds usually feel like the most intense, in love, deepest relationships, because you got two at the epitome of vulnerability, pain pocket people who are bonding. And most people who are low functioning are exactly who they are. Exactly who they are. Doesn't make it bad for being who they are. Exactly who they are. That's their pain, their trauma. They're going to flee, they're going to scream, they're going to hit, they're going to do whatever comes up. Right? Fuck it, I'm mad. Whatever comes up, there's no awareness, there's no stop, there's no nothing. I'm triggered, I'm inflamed, we just go to tear this thing up. Right? High functioning only means, Cam, that I feel them same feels. I still feel, see my language, you got me fucked up. I'm ready to go there. I'm flamed. I'm triggered. It's all there, right?
In that way.
But it's still dormant. It's still in me. And high.
Okay. So now high functioning is being able to control your emotions. Okay. So now it's not just I want you, I don't need you. Now it's also I can control my emotions.
High functioning means I can regulate those emotions. Watch this and say, okay, right now, I'm ready to rip this man's head off. Right now, he got me all the way fucked up. Okay, so how do I relay that message to him where it's going to be respectful, it's going to be non-combative, and I'm going to disarm him while he still knows you got me fucked up? Because
now, how is he more high functioning than you are when you got to baby talk his fucking ass in conflict? You have to now recenter yourself and check yourself so that you can calm him down. Girl, what? He's not functioning higher than you at that point.
I don't have to say those words for you to know, I think I went too far with Doc. And you still feel respected and loved, so that I just disarmed you and we can still have an engaging, emotionally intelligent conversation that ends in resolve, whether resolve means win-win, because resolve is really win-win, or one person wins or none, and we agree to disagree, and we can still go to the cigar lounge and have a drink and you have your cigar. But low functioning people going to tear this thing up with no emotional regulation. They're also going to choose a person who does it with them and allows them to do it. Because I only can do to you what you allow me to do. Because if I start cutting up in here and you say, Doc, we love you, love to have you here, but you got to go and you're not welcome back. Because no pun intended, that's not our culture here. Guess what? I can't do that again. And that's not called fleeing. You emotionally, intelligently said, Doc, love you here. You're a great guest, but that's not our culture. We don't do that here. Now I have a choice to make. Do I want to be in a relationship with Cam? Do I want to be welcome back here? Self-inventory. You just did me the best favor you could have ever did. By excusing me, you blessed me. Because now I got to look at myself and say, what needs to be done for me to fit in this? Now let's flip it. I'm with a dude who's turned up. He's a womanizer. He got all these women. He spent money on me. He treat me good. And what you said earlier, he D's me down. You didn't say you would D me down, but use the D word, clarity. He D's me down. And so I come in and I tell him, no, I'm just like, I'm not a woman. I'm like wholesome. I'm not into casual sex. I don't do all that, but I'm in love with him. And he lets me know, check this out, baby. Daddy love you. There's a place for you here, but not like that. You got to be able to do these things.
He don't even look like he's listening to her right now. The cigar is a way to distort the attention, like distract. You can tell he's not really engaging this cigar thing. It's a way to, add a little layer of condescension.
Check back in when you can. That woman has a choice to make too. She goes and takes self-inventory and says, do I want to do these things so I can fit in with daddy? Or do I want to stay true to who I am? Either way, it's a choice. But high-functioning people have the ability to take a step back internally, not physically, process what they feel, hear their emotions in the real space that they're saying. Because my emotions curse people out and things all day. but I regulate it, code switch it, deliver the message so you're receptive to it and you fill it with love. But I'm saying the same damn thing I was saying in here. And now we have a relationship. Now we have respect. And now we good. And now, like your mama said, because I love that quote, tell her that, please. I love that. We can go to heaven together and we can take this journey to hell as well.
But no, are you willing to go to
I
hell?
just said both.
Yeah.
Both.
So, but I don't think my question.
Your mama said there's no heaven in this. There was no heaven in it for your mama. We was only going to hell.
Was clear, or the answer wasn't clear as far as a high functioning woman.
Yeah.
And
it's simple. High functioning woman feels the same thing a low functioning woman feels. She does two things differently. High functioning woman can regulate her emotions to articulate it so it comes out with emotional intelligence. And she uses what she feels, and chooses with her healthy self and not her dysfunctional self. That's the only difference.
Now, explain to me what a high functioning man is.
A high functioning man, identical to a woman. He can feel what he feels, he regulates his emotions, and he chooses how he's going to deliver that message so that woman receives it and she's not armed and now we're at war. That's what a high functioning man does. And he's also able to sit through hard, challenging conversations without fleeing or abandoning that woman and using his.
She's flipping this on him right now because that's what he just did to her. She know he clocked out on her because she's now having to reiterate what she just said because he wasn't listening. So now she's saying you're not high functioning because you can't even sit through a hard conversation and actually be present with me.
Emotional intelligence that says, I hear you and I understand you. But baby, I don't agree with that one part.
There's a lot of things that I don't agree with.
I don't agree with that.
In this conversation.
Yeah.
Going back to what I said, with that 40% of men who are high functioning that you counsel, what I said was, most men understand this. We don't really find true love.
I would be in jail.
Because it's, what can you do for me? Because a man's job.
Okay. Did y'all hear that? Cam said a high functioning man, because he views himself as high functioning, him still confusing high value with high functioning. He has a lot of money, right? So for him, when he's looking at, I'm sorry, I was reading the comment and got confused. When he's talking about what he just said, hold up, let's go back so I can make sure I'm saying it right.
He chooses how he's going to deliver that message so that woman receives it.
What I said, with that 40% of men who are high functioning that you counsel, what I said was, most men understand this. We don't really find true love because it's, what can you do for me? Because a man's job is to provide. Now, this is where most high vibrational man, high functioning man go through. As far as being emotionally intelligent, that still does not qualify you as being high vibrational. The thing that.
So being emotionally intelligent doesn't make you high vibrational. Cam Newton is basically saying because a woman doesn't have more money than me, she can't do anything for me. Therefore, she's not high functioning to me. Me as a high functioning man, I will never find love because I will never find a woman that is going to take care of me. And this is why they don't go and find women who have money. There are women out here that have money, that have just as much money, or have enough money that they don't need you. But see, because you feel like I make more money than her, y'all are always competing with the woman that y'all are with in some capacity. And that's the weird part. If you don't want to provide for a woman, then don't. But also don't use your money as a way to make yourself more valuable to a woman, because that's what he does. He uses his money to make it seem as if he's so valuable, but then also at the same time doesn't really want to use his money to make himself valuable with that woman. That's why Jazzy is over there cooking and cleaning like, Florida from Good Times.
Is often said on two counterparts, two species from a woman. It's about self-worth, how I feel. I'm not going to allow you to treat me like this. I'm not going to allow you to talk to me like this. I know my non.
Okay, Lisa, I hear what you're saying, but he's not. He's not scared of that. He can simply go and find a woman with money, y'all. Black women have money. especially around Cam and them. How many of those Taraji P. Henson, you know what I'm saying? And I'm saying her because, you know, I'm thinking about women that have a lot of money, or, you know, and we know she ain't got that much money as an actress, but we know that there are a lot of Black women out there that are single, that do very well, that take care of themselves. Y'all don't want those women because those women require you to be emotionally intelligent and for you to give of yourself in a way that does not allow you to just throw money on the issue because they don't need your money. It requires more of you as a man. You don't want to do that. You want to be with a woman who needs you for your money because then you don't have to do any real emotional lifting. You don't have to be nice. You don't have to do anything you don't want to do if you have the money. So you don't really want to be with a woman that values you for who you are, because then you would have to be a better person. I'm telling y'all. He's not, oh, I'm so scared of being used for my money. Then go get with a woman with money. Oh, I can't deal with no woman with money because they act like they don't need a man. Hello. So then you have to make yourself somebody that woman would want. And you don't want to do that because that requires you to be selfless sometimes. And it's all about you. So it can never be about her the way it would have to be.
Non-negotiables. I know my worth. Fine. That are all qualifying things for any woman to say to herself or to the universe, I'm high vibrational. Now, the thing for me is that doesn't qualify for men, because you can have all the emotional intelligence, all the trigger points to be able to communicate. Mm-hmm. But if you stand at your mama house, all that's out the door. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So
I'm sorry. Does he think there is a man out there that has all of those things and still living at his mama's house? That's not how that works. That's not how that works. Everybody can fall. Like, everybody can have a bad time. But you as a man with money are not about to sit up here and say that broke niggas have emotional intelligence and y'all don't want them. Like, that's basically what he was just saying. That shit don't make sense. Let me rewind it.
Because a man's job is to provide. Mm-hmm. Now, this is where most high vibrational man, high functioning man go through. As far as being emotionally intelligent, that still does not qualify you as being high vibrational. The thing that is often said on two counterparts, two species, mm-hmm. from a woman, it's about self-worth, how I feel. I'm not going to allow you to treat me like this. I'm not going to allow you to talk to me like this. I know my non-negotiables. I know my worth. Fine. That are all qualifying things for any woman to say to herself or to the universe, I'm high vibrational. Now, the thing for me is that doesn't qualify for men, because you can have all the emotional intelligence, all the trigger points to be able to communicate. Mm-hmm. But if you stand at your mama house, all that's out the door. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So society dictates what a man's value is, respectfully. And it's shameful to say it that way, but that's the surface level identifier of a high vibrational man, amongst other things. Now, these things are what women always say, oh, well, I'm not doing this, or yeah, this, that, and the third, and that's fine. But different rules for different species.
Like, that's fine.
So right. That's where I'm saying to you, it's like, okay, for that 40% or that 70% mm-hmm. of high vibration.
First of all, we're not a different species. We're the same species. Let's start there, genius.
Woman. It's a little bit, the rules are a little different for men. And you can't say it's not, because it actually is. All that, he's fit, girl, I mean, everything. I mean, this, that, and the third. But Dr. Bryant ain't gonna talk to no guy that can, number one, protect her physically, emotionally, and gives her the stability to live her life as she sees fit. And that's where the high vibrational man steps in. And we don't need that from a high vibrational woman. So that's my caveat.
Okay, got it.
He said a whole bunch of bullshit, but basically what he's saying is men take care of women, women don't take care of men. For women to be high vibrational, it doesn't mean the same thing as it means for a man to be high vibrational. Yeah, because we're not the same, sweetie.
You made a lot of really good points. So a man living in his mama house means he's low value, but can still be high functioning. High functioning and high value man are two different things. High value man is more about value. What are you offering financially? What can you do for me? How can you provide for me? It has nothing to do with emotions. This is why you have a lot of high valued women and men who are extremely low functioning. It is statistically known that high valued women, not functioning, high value women, meaning powerhouse, makes money, elected official, doctor, lawyer, entrepreneur, whatever she does, she's just killing it. She does well. Educated, not educated.
High value woman usually means a woman that is aesthetically pleasing and takes care of herself in a way to procure a man of high value. That can also mean the same thing for her as it means for a man. That's why what he said was bullshit. A woman can be high value in the same way a man can be high value. Like, she can provide just as he can provide. Y'all was so mad, but the example of that, Tabitha Brown, okay?
She just does her thing financially. She's high value. Often end up with low functioning men.
Why?
And it's because she has high value. She doesn't have high function. Law of attraction, we attract who we are despite who we think we are. So the man living in his mama's house that you described, right?
Mhm.
That's based on society. That's a low value man.
Reality, not
That's fine.
society.
You can say
reality.
I'm fine with that. Yeah.
Right.
Value is not a functioning. High functioning is how you function. And then to do with money or where you live or how you drive.
Right.
Okay. Value is the word value because it's what you say. How valuable are you?
Mhm.
How valuable are you, sis? What you bringing to the table?
Okay, now
Those are two different things.
I just want to stop you right there before I lose my. If the man doesn't have high value,
Yes.
he will not spark the interest of no woman. Let's just put it like that. So it warrants.
You saying that for yourself, but that's a fucking lie. There are so many women so many high value women. Child, Tyler Perry has been selling us on that for as long as he's been making plays and movies, that a woman with money should be okay with a man that don't have shit. I don't know what he's talking about. Oh, a woman, she's not going to mess with a man with low value. Yes, she is. There are a whole bunch of women that make a lot of money that will come and let some nigga with no place to stay come and stay with them and funk out their house simply because he got good dick and is hugging on her. Do y'all remember Wendy Raquel Robinson and Bobby Brown and Two Can Play That Game? That's another example of a high value woman wanting a low value man. Women clean up niggas all the time. And y'all, they keep talking. I have never talked about Queen and Clarence. I have never talked about them on my channel. But for some reason, a lot of these niggas is in my comments talking about, but the girl said this about Queen and Clarence. Child, if Clarence don't want to get married, he don't need to get married. And Queen need to figure out why she want to marry a nigga that don't want to marry her. Like, the fuck? I don't think like everybody else. I don't think people should get married if they don't want to. I think marriage is for people who have business acumen and they got money and shit they trying to build, for one. And for two, is if you really, really want to marry that person specifically. Not because you want marriage so bad, but because you want to marry that person specifically.
Runs
Then answer this
in
question.
conjunctions.
Why are most low value? And low value man just means, I'll go street terms, broke.
Yes.
Okay? They're married. Them girls are married.
But you can't
Hold
say
on.
that's a subjective thing.
No, that's
You
not.
can't
That's
say most because that's not true.
Statistically, when it comes to socioeconomics, Google it, have somebody here on your team pull it up. Socioeconomically, women, Google it, predominantly black women, socioeconomically are exceeding when it comes to money, street terms, bread. Hold on. That means if they marry, they're married to a man who's making less money, no money, or broke money. Hold on. Now, low valued men are.
Okay, but that's what I just said. That's true, but also a good man doesn't always have high value. Why can't we ever talk about that? Miss Rhonda, baby, that's all we ever talk about. Did you not hear me say Tyler Perry? Look, Phaedra Parks and Apollo. Who else? Y'all put some more people up here that it's a high value woman in a low value man, and y'all, he's a good man, Savannah. He's a good man. Okay.
are married to somebody, whether she low, high, whatever. He got him a wife. And let me go a little further. And usually if you don't have a wife, he got a whole hell lot of kids by different women.
Watch out now. Watch out. You're speeding.
Yeah, I am.
You're speeding.
I'm poking
we
speed.
going there. Hold on. Let me take this.
So let me finish
Let me take this glove off.
Let me finish this point. So again, low valued men, meaning street term broke, they're married. And they oftentimes, if not more than often, have multiple kids by multiple men.
Okay? Woman. Whoa.
No. I'm going somewhere.
Low. You said
no, I'm going somewhere with that. They have multiple kids by multiple men. Hold on. And women. We in a whole different society. You're talking about reality.
No. You said low vibrational men are married with multiple.
Let me say it again. They're married.
Let's stop for a second, Erica. Thank you for this. This is very true. Most black women are dating below their standards because men are allowed to be mediocre and have potential in society. I agree. I want y'all to understand the same rules that work for the juxtaposition between black people and white people. Y'all know how black people got to work 10 times harder and white people can be mediocre. No disrespect. This is just a fact of how everybody lives in this society. Okay. It is the same thing for men. Men can have a lot of potential, and women, no, you can't, bitch. You got to produce something. You got to produce something. You either got to pop out a kid, you got to pop some coochie, you got to do something. But a nigga could just be out here living off straight potential and having all of the women in his life take care of him. Did y'all not just see the little girl from the Zeus Network? And you know, I know her face, but I don't know her because I don't fuck with them Zeus Network people. But you see how the boyfriend was packing all his shit up in his sister's car?
And if they're not, they usually have multiple kids with multiple women. Hold on. And I'm going somewhere with this. Have multiple men. Meaning that men and women are choosing low-valued men. That's subjective. Because in the society we live in today, you have a lot of different dynamics of polyamorous, different dynamics of relationships. And when you're talking about men today and women, I'm not just knocking on the men, relationships don't just go one way. And we're talking about a low-value man. We're not just talking about heterosexual men, right? I could talk about the whole gamut. Do I have to stay in one pocket? I'm just asking because I will.
Ma'am.
Okay. So
Take it
again, low-valued men don't have to be, they could be high-functioning and low-value is what I'm saying. So a man living in his mama's house is low-value, but he could be high-functioning. Hold on. So how?
Okay, hold up, y'all. 1 second. Ma'am, I did not misinterpret what you said. I did not misinterpret what you said at all. Let's go back to your comment since you feel as if I misinterpreted it. Where is the comment, girl? Because it's a lot of, it says, you said that's true, but also a good man doesn't always have high value. Why can't we ever talk about that? I said that's all we talk about, i.e. Tyler Perry movies, where that's exactly what's being taught to women. He doesn't have to have a lot of money to be a good man, Savannah girl. That's not a misinterpretation. Let's continue.
How does he attract a woman who's high functioning?
Thank you.
He's high functioning. He attracts a high functioning woman. Hold on. The high functioning woman is also high value, meaning she has money, a lifestyle, and a high quality of life. And she's high functioning. All she needs is a high functioning man. She ain't worried about a man who also has high value. A lot of women.
If y'all not talking to me, y'all got to add who y'all talking to in the comments, because I'm going to think y'all talking to me if y'all don't add who y'all talking to. All right? I'm just saying. It's confusion for me. I'm reading the comments. I don't know what y'all want me to do. Right. But we cool. I'm just saying. I'm just saying that's all we talk about.
Operate like that, who are powerful. I'm sure you've been in rooms with powerful women who have husbands who you have said, if not you, many have said, how did he get her? Wait a minute. And it's not even a looks thing. It's down to, I'm going to go with a really good friend of mine's, Oprah and Stedman. Mama, you know I love you. But Oprah's power. You think Stedman's low functioning or low value? Stedman is low value. He ain't low functioning, baby. There's a difference. He's low value based on, I'll use your word, reality, because regardless if he makes good money, he ain't making Oprah money.
Nobody's making Oprah money.
So he's low valued compared to that. But Stedman is not low functioning. Oprah's not.
Stedman is not low value either. Everybody's low value compared to Mama O.
Then you can't say he's low value.
Right.
Like, stop with the virtue signaling, grandstanding, mama. Oh, nigga, please. Okay, nigga, please. You wouldn't have no respect for Oprah if she couldn't buy and sell your ass in this entertainment business.
So Stedman, and it's subjective again, Stedman in his relationship, we can't say marriage, in his relationship.
Just to be clear, she's only saying that Stedman is low value in comparison when it comes to the money, because he's not making as much money. It's obvious to them that in order for a man to not be low value, he has to be making more money than the woman. Ain't that crazy? That's what she's saying. The man is only high value if he's making more money than the woman. I don't agree with that, but that's what she's saying.
Is low value to his powerhouse, high value, high functioning.
But that's not a good
women.
example, though.
That is a great example.
It's not, because anybody's going to be low value to
Cam,
Oprah.
who else do they live in?
Oprah's.
Okay, where's Stedman's house?
I have no idea.
That's my point. That is my point.
Can you give me another example?
That is my point.
Let's not use that one, because that's not a reality. Like, Oprah's living in the half percent of the world, not just the 1%, less than the 1%. Because anybody, myself included, if we were to date a woman of Oprah's magnitude, it's never going to be enough. I'm going to be on her jet. I'm going to be on her yacht. I'm going to be at her functions. I would be a fucking fool to think.
So that's not always the case. You look at Jay-Z and you look at Beyonce. Jay can be on B's lot, B can be on Jay's lot. So my whole point to drive this point is that low value or high value, low function, high function, two different things, two different identities.
And in real life, usually people are more financially yoked. In real life, meaning, like, to me, everyday people are making about the same amount of money. Everybody's making about between, around my friends and shit, our tax, but everybody's making between, I would say, 60 to $100,000+ a year. Whether you a man or a woman, most of them are making closer to the same amount of money. They're not making an extreme difference in money. There's only really a small percentage of people that are making that type of money in the first fucking place. That's another thing. Stop thinking that celebrities' lives are indicative of regular people's lives. Regular people is making about the same amount of money. That lady and that man is both, between 60 and 160K. Thank you. The fuck? We're not making huge, differences in money out here.
Low value has to do with money and quality of life, fiduciary. Functioning has to do with how do you function innately, emotionally, psychologically as a human being. And so if you have billions of dollars.
How you function and how you value, both of those things have to equal up to make sense to me. Meaning you can't have a whole bunch of money and I can't have a conversation with you and I can't get to, stable ground with you emotionally in arguments and all of that. That means to me that you have no value. I decided long ago never to walk in anyone's shadow. If I fail, if I succeed, okay, at least I have my fucking dignity. Do you hear me? I don't care how much money you make. Listen, y'all, I grew up in a certain tax bracket. I've always had money thrown at me. Niggas with money will throw it at me. I don't want it if I don't want you. And that's just that on that. And usually men with money come with a whole bunch of fucking headaches that I don't feel like dealing with because normally they don't have real emotional intelligence. They only have what they show you. So for me, it's always been the combination of the two, right? Were you college educated? Did you have a job? Were you hardworking? Did you have your own place? I didn't need you to make much more money than me if you had all of those things and you were high functioning emotionally. I don't need you to be all the way up here and then all the way down here on the function. Okay. I need that to be a little bit closer together.
Donald Trump is low functioning. He just happens to be high value in the sense of his wealth, but he's extremely low functioning.
That's subjective.
But that's fine. No, and I'm not for or against him. I'm not for or against Trump. I'm just using someone. And again, we're having a conversation, so everything's going to be subjective. So I'm speaking about the difference so that we can clear it up. Just because a woman is high functioning doesn't mean she's successful financially or career-wise. Just because a man is high functioning doesn't mean that either. Just because someone is high valued doesn't mean that they have a certain level of functioning. You have a lot of people that do good in the boardroom, high IQ, high functioning, interpersonal relationships, but cannot function at home in their marriage. And so those two are not relevant to each other, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, but I'm gonna tell you another thing that's not relevant to each other. A high value woman will never acknowledge a low value man. So
That's
Oprah.
Well, let me say
hold
this.
on,
But
hold on,
Cam,
hold
you're a
on.
man.
Hold on.
You can't speak from a woman's perspective. High valued women acknowledge, notice, sleep with, and date low value men all the time. One, I'm in the room with them with high valued women. Two, I am a high valued woman. And I have at some point dated a man who is low value, meaning he wasn't living with his mama, but his income, socioeconomic status wasn't anywhere where somebody would go, Doc, really? He didn't have a title up to the caliber of mine. He wasn't in rooms and boardrooms. He wasn't sitting there with Congress, elected officials and making moves and making legislation and resolutions like myself. And so at that time, I was a woman who was high value, okay, and high functioning, who was dating a man who was high functioning, but low value, but didn't live with his mother. And for me, what he was providing in the sense of our companionship was great in that season.
Which was what?
What do you mean, which is what?
What was he providing you?
The functionality, the emotional intelligence.
The functionality?
The what?
I'm asking you.
You're asking me. Wait, what word did you say?
Functionality.
You're asking me, was he making love to me good?
Yes.
If the sex was good?
Yes.
The sex was great.
Now, let me tell you
it wasn't the best I had, but it was great.
This goes to my point.
But that wasn't all.
What relevance does that have to the conversation of what we're talking about right now?
Oh, you asked a question.
Yes, but I'm making a point here.
So you want me to finish what he was providing?
Just press a pause.
Okay.
Just press the space bar real
Go
quick.
for it.
Even though you were entertaining him sexually, you will never be saw with that man because he don't fit my standards. That doesn't mean you.
Now, why are you comparing yourself to what this woman has already done in her relationships? She's talking about a man, because you said a woman of high value would never respect or be, or, she's not going to recognize a man of low value. This woman who is high value tells you that's not fucking true. You turn around and say that, well, you're not going to be able to rest in your feminine. Oh, because Jazzy is over there resting in her feminine, cooking and cleaning like a fucking slave and having you pound into her rectum whenever you feel like it, even though she doesn't particularly enjoy it. You think that's soft life? That's not soft life. Jazzy's not living a soft life because her skin is pretty and she puts a fucking filter on to tell us how she loves to be a servant. That's not a soft life. A soft life is when a woman is with a man and she ain't gotta cook because he paying somebody to do it. She ain't gotta clean because he paying somebody to do it. She can do whatever the fuck she want to do. Matter of fact, he not only is a soft life a woman that is secured in every way that she would like to be secured, but a soft life, if we really talking about it, is one of which a person is choosing their life. One that they don't have to run up against. I'm unhappy. No, if I'm happy, I'm soft. The fuck is you talking about? I don't need nobody else to provide that for me. I can provide my own happiness for myself. And that's the thing a lot of y'all don't understand.
You can't entertain it.
First of all, that's not true. So I'm the source. I'm the woman. I'm the one who was dating him. I'm going to speak from that source, not you. So as a source who was dating him, that's not true. We were seen in public. We were seen on red carpets when I was co-producing my show, as well as on Camera Psychologist with the biggest show on TV, Teen Mom Family Reunion on MTV. We did a lot of that. And we didn't enter a relationship where we led by sex. So I was tied to the sex is so good, this is what we're doing. I would have just ran that play with saying, we just sexing. Let's leave it there. I'm grown. I could do that. His functionality, his intellect, his high functioning is what attracted me. As that functionality continued to be attractive and foreplay me, my body started to want him. That happened about 8 months into us having a companionship. And so I'm not saying anyone who does it the first day, I'm not knocking no one. I'm just telling the reality of how we worked it out. So by the time we were intimate, the actual act wasn't all that, but our connection, our functionality, our intimacy, all the foreplay for 8 months made that sex amazing. Because it's subjective on what turns who on. And for this subject, what I'm turned on by is high functioning. I'm turned on by a man who's mature enough, emotionally intelligent enough to be a hybrid, an alpha, a submissive, a man who understands that. So for me, that's what he was feeding me, my foreplay of what turns me on as me as a woman. And so, yes, I not only entertained, but I was very much involved in that relationship.
With that remedy or that ingredient that most people
see that right there is so many of you broke ass niggas right now in my comments talking shit. Y'all gonna get blocked. But what I'm saying is y'all can't even listen to that. Y'all can't listen to a woman saying when a man was showing up how I needed him to show up, it wasn't about him making more money than me. It wasn't about him being able to buy me this and buy me that. But it's a whole bunch of broke ass niggas with no money that think that that's what every woman's talking about when we know most of us are not living like that. But okay.
It's going to run its course.
That's fine. But who cares? Marriage runs its course. Our divorce rate is high.
But listen to the point that I'm trying to make. As a high valued woman, she's never going to entertain a man that is not also high value.
She already said not true.
I will say it like this, even though he has high function to sustain the relationship.
Now, peep this, y'all, right quick. All of these niggas, right? All these niggas mad. And they're on their red pill and they're on Cam's side. Cam is saying that you niggas will never get a woman. The women are saying that's not true. Why are y'all mad at the women? I did not rewind it. He said the same thing over again. She said all of that. And he went back and said the same thing over again, that a woman of high value would never see it for a man of low value. Even though we just listed in the comments a whole bunch of times that that is not true to show you that that's fucking cap. So I want all of you broke niggas, because y'all do the same thing white people do, right? Y'all have y'all's misogynistic mindsets about women. So you can't hear when a rich nigga is telling you a lie to play on your emotions. That man is telling you that a woman of value is never going to want you. The woman of value is saying that's not true. You mad at the women. Make it make sense. Are y'all always on nigga side? Is that what it is? You're going to be on a man's side no matter what, because you're a man. Even though you don't have any money, he does. Y'all come from two different perspectives, two different tax brackets. But because he can tap on your misogynistic attitudes, y'all think y'all are the same. It's the same thing with white people voting Republican. You're broke, yet you're still voting for people to put less money in your pocket and more money in rich people's pockets. You're voting for less taxes on a higher tax bracket, not realizing you're putting more on your tax bracket.
That high function will run its course if that's all you have. So you being who you are, you attract a certain type of man. Me being who I am, I can take anybody and transform them into who I want them to be. A woman cannot do
That's
that
not true.
in most cases.
That's not
A woman cannot do that in most cases. Y'all, that is one of the biggest caps of this whole fucking interview. First of all, there is literally a thread of all of the times Black women have turned some geeky looking nigga, white boy or Black, into something attractive for everybody to look at. How many times have y'all seen before the Black woman, after the Black woman? How many times have y'all heard men talk about how it is their Black women that push them, that make them better? They wouldn't be trying to do all of the things they was doing if it wasn't for their woman. I know a lot of niggas that would live in an apartment with a chair and a bed on the floor if it wasn't for a Black woman coming into their life and sprinkling some shit in there. So what he's saying is a lie off rip. It is a huge lie, right? But outside of that, what he's talking about, you're not turning Jazzy into anything. You're not turning Jazzy into anything. Jazzy always wanted what it is she thinks she's getting from you. She's just too young and dumb to realize that what she's doing with you right now is not going to last. It's not going to yield the results that she thinks it's going to result in. She thinks that if she keep putting herself through all of this pain, eventually you will give her what she wants, which is to be legitimized as your wife and the head of the baby mama squad. But essentially, if you were going to give her that, you would have already gave it to her. Because she was already on her feet cooking 8 months pregnant for your 8 kids. She was already doing all that. And you still haven't given her that. And you still looking for more. But somehow you think you didn't turn Jazzy into something? You didn't turn Jazzy into shit. Jazzy has agreed to become a servant for your betterment. And the more she tries to convince the world and everybody else that this is what she really wants for herself, the more it'll make you happy and she'll possibly get what she's vying for, which is to be your wife. That's what she thinks. Talk to us in 10 years.
Okay, she's not willing.
No, I'm saying that no man can take a woman and transform her into what he wants her to be. She came in and is willing to allow you to tell her what you want and she'll submit to those. You're not God and you're not the potter maker. So your hands ain't on no pot, sweetie, taking a woman and conforming. You just don't have that power. You probably would like to, but you don't have that power. You can take her, like I just said before, with the womanizer and the guy who, me being in your studio, and say, baby, these are the qualifications. And she chooses, which is her free will to never be yours, to hit them points or not. And when she chooses to hit them points, you then choose to keep her or you choose to shake her. Because you can never take water. Hold on. You can never take water, baby, and make this 7 up. You can pour it out and fill it back up, but this will never turn to what you wanted. You're not Jesus. You ain't turning water to wine. That's not how it happens. Now, you can't take a woman and make her what you want. You can tell her what you want, and I'm going to give her power back, and she'll choose to be that. But you don't get the power of saying you made her that, whether an entrepreneur or a mother or a wife. She chooses.
Did you hear that? She talking fast, but she literally just said he disempowered her by making it seem as if she was not making a choice to be with him. He was turning her into that, which is why it's so embarrassing for Jazzy, for this man to talk about you in this interview as if you're not just making a decision to be with him. You are being manipulated into being in a relationship with this man. Like, that's what it sounds like to me. He's making you do this, not you're choosing it. And he's so fucking stupid. He don't realize that it only speaks to his own ego and his own fucked up mindset that he thinks it's better for him to be making you be this way versus you choosing to be this way. Like, you don't even realize that coercion is not a good thing.
Chooses to let you do that by telling you I'll submit to those orders. There's a difference. Now, with a man, a high-valued woman can do the same thing with the man. Baby, you want to be here? This is the qualifications. This is what I need, the prerequisites. He can say yes or he can say no. Either way. But if he chooses to do that, then that's his choice, and she got what she wanted. It's all about conduciveness. Is it conducive or not? Right. However, we don't potter nobody, and that's where the disconnect comes in at with people who are high valued but low functioning.
But I don't
hold on. High value but low functioning. The high value, low functioning. I'm gonna say it again. Y'all stick with me. High value, low functioning thinks the high value can attract the low functioning, and the low functioning and that high value person thinks they can potter the low functioning and mold them to be what they want. It don't work like that at all. That person still chooses to become what you're telling them you want them to be. That's still their power, and they can take it back when they want. And let me hit on something else you said. You said that high functionality will run its course. I believe the opposite.
Without value. See, this is where you keep trying to skew my words or my intentions of my words. I'm not saying
but without value. But what I'm saying is I still don't agree with that point. I don't say your point's a bad point. I just don't agree with it.
I just think you're taking it out of my contents my intentions for saying it.
No, I'm sorry.
Can you tell your mother?
I'm sorry. I can't stand. I cannot stand a nigga that wants to, or people, period, not just a nigga, but I've had these types of conversations with men more than I've had them with women. They really want the conversation to go the way they think it's supposed to go. And so whenever you say, no, I don't agree with that, they feel like you've misunderstood something or you are misunderstanding what they meant. No, I understand exactly what the fuck you meant, and I still don't agree with it. The fuck? I don't have to be less smart because I don't agree with your point.
Baby, and make this 7-Up. You can pour it out.
Intentions of my words. I'm not saying
but without value. But what I'm saying is I still don't agree with that point. I don't say your point's a bad point. I just don't agree with it.
I just think you're taking it out of my contents my intentions for saying that. That's what I believe you're doing. And that's not my intentions. Like, you're making points of things that I did not intend.
You said high functionality will run out without value, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm hitting on that point.
For a high value woman,
let's bring it back.
High functioning will run its course if you do not have any value.
And I'm saying that I don't see that being the case.
Okay.
From being in my field.
But hold on, just real brief. You were saying, to that analogy of you turning water into 7-Up, I never thought that I was God or Jesus to be able to control.
But when you say,
that's what you said,
I could take a woman and make her what I want, that's the same thing. That's the same thing. You're taking me and making me what you want. You're taking Jessica and making her what you want. It doesn't matter. You cannot turn water to wine. That's her power. She comes in, you tell her what you want, and she chooses to do that. And if she becomes that, it's because of her choice. Because the day she chooses to undo that, it's undone.
But
so it's still, the power is still with her. No one can take anyone and make them anything. Right. Not me, not you. No one has that power.
But the only reason why a person is considering what I need them to be, or will prefer them to be, or would like them to be, is because of my value as a man. If I did not have any value.
That's not why. I love that you think that. It's for the payoff that they get. It's their payoff. Everything we do is for our payoff. It's subjective. So
it's not about you. It's about what you provide, right? But it's not about your value as a person and who you are as a person and how you act in that relationship. It's about the access you provide, the money that you come with, the esteem, the image. Because the truth of the matter is, Jazzy ain't getting no real fucking money out this situation.
I can say what I think. Let me say this. A woman,
it's on the back end.
Woman who would be with a man of your value and become everything you want her to become, because you ain't gonna make her, okay? The payoff would be she gets to be provided for. We're talking about the high value part. She gets to live in a beautiful home. She gets this high quality of life. She gets to be able to possibly have a family with a man who also, has a celebrity status, right? She gets to be in the limelight somewhat. Maybe she has a business, and maybe this relationship is a strategic relationship for her. She can use this to kind of maneuver or what she has going on.
Right.
See, so the answer.
Because baby, if you don't think that Jazzy is not thinking about the fact that cosplaying and this humiliation kink with this famous nigga on the internet is not good for her comedy, girl, like I said, let's just wait on it. To me, it's partially acting. It's partially humiliation, kink, and it's partially you being delusional.
It will be different from a high functioning woman than a low functioning woman. Me, high functioning, I'm listing what I'm thinking. Strategic relationship.
Sure.
I'm a doctor. I can move in. I got limelight. You have a lot of limelight.
Right.
Retired NFL player. Okay, in my opinion, Hall of Famer. So we got things that can benefit me as a payoff because I'm a professional who's high functioning.
Yes.
I'm not looking at it like I can nest and you move in, put my feet up, and now I can live free. Now, another woman subjectively could think that that's the value, but there's a payoff for why we do anything we do in life. We all have and it doesn't make it bad. That's life. It's always an exchange of, I will submit to these things that Cam wants because these are the things that I know would come with me submitting.
Yeah, but that's what goes back to the original statement.
Yes.
Will a man really understand?
In the comments, he can't speak about the average man, but he is speaking as if he is speaking on behalf of the average man, but he's not. And he knows he's not, because this conversation with Dr. Cheyenne Bryant is about him. It's not about y'all niggas with no money. He just told y'all can't get no woman that he can get. He just told y'all that.
Stand true love, because when you identify those things, it was how can I benefit from the situation? He has high status. I have high status.
Right.
Have a business. It matches that. So to my point, when I'm saying I can make a woman in regards to that, I see way too many times a high value man takes a low functioning woman or a low value woman and increase her status overnight. Now, it's still a process. It's still a level of submission from both sides, not just a female side, but also the male side. And also, there's a patience that goes into that to be like, yo.
Wait, hold on. Depending on the negotiation. Because some of that stuff, I'm saying could move fast because everyone's negotiation process is different. You know what I mean, Cam? Meaning if we coming in saying, okay, Cam, this is a strategic dating thing, we both know it. We're going to have this all planned out. We just going to hit these points. Meaning that would come into fruition a lot sooner because we're clear on the plan. Versus if I came in without you knowing my plan.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, Cam, yeah, hey. It may be a little longer process. I agree.
Yeah.
But you keep saying the man thing, which I love. That will a man ever really experience true love?
Right.
My answer to that two-part answer. One, I'm not a man.
Right.
And I believe that a woman should stay in her place when it comes to answering men's question from a place of being the source and instead say my opinion. Just like I think a man also should stay in his place when answering questions about us because y'all not us, you don't know. But you can say in my opinion, in my experience or what I think. So I would hope that men could experience real love. However, I believe that it would take more than a high functionality. It would take more than high valueness. It would take more than being able to come in and, make a woman or make a man, whoever we want them to be. Being in love and feeling and experiencing that fully is more about how open and vulnerable we have already allowed ourselves to be with ourselves. Right? So meaning I receive love from you at the level of receptivity I already am when I come and meeting you. Whether it's friendship, business, romantic, you can't love me deeper than I love myself. Let me word that better. You can feel the love deeper for me than I love myself. I won't receive it and feel it past the level that I love myself.
Yes, ma'am.
So where the disconnect comes out, not with us, but with people, is you telling me like, Doc, like I love you with everything. Like I'm giving you the world. Like no, I'm loving you like I've never loved any. And if I'm unlovable and I haven't worked through my stuff, and I don't have the awareness to say, but baby, it ain't your love that is the issue. It's my ability to receive it and be topped off. Now, if I said that to you as my partner, which is that emotional intelligence just means I understand myself and I'm able to articulate who I am. In most cases, that would make you love me more and have a better understanding and try to help me, I would think, figure out how to get those barriers, right?
Unlock something.
Barriers so that you can I could receive your love.
Right.
And then in return, I'm able to reciprocate it at a deeper level for you, because this is the thing. If you're already loving me deeper than I can feel, that means that your love tank is already deeper. That means you're a gallon and I'm a pint. So if your gallon, right, poured everything into my pint,
it's going to overflow.
It's going to overflow. And and even though it's amazing, right? I can't, it's overwhelming for me, Cam. I can't take it.
I've seen that analogy.
Right.
And I received that. But
right.
to even make it more clear cut, what I mean by a man not having or not really identifying true love is because men's love is almost predicated on transaction
versus relational.
Which shows you that it is not real love. Real love should be symbiotic, not transactional. So for me, when he says that, and I saw a post, and they always put that post up over and over again because they try to force engagement on these blogs. And it's that one where the woman says that she thinks men love deeper than women because women are socialized to just fall in love with any old body. And I'm like, and men are socialized to manipulate women into thinking that they love them to get what they want out of them. So how the fuck can you say that the women's love isn't real, but the men's love is, when they're socialized to pretend to love a woman and a woman is socialized to fall in love with a man? That doesn't even make any sense. Let me read some of these super chats. K staying neutral. Thank you for the super chat. Replay gang. You know, In Prison is written by Tracy McMillan, host of Family or Fiance. I was just surprised by that. Yes, 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 yes. I know. Um, Thank you for the super chat. Abu Bari, hey honey, thank you for the super chat. Bondi, women are more likely to seek out her services than men. So if her client base is largely women, it makes sense. Yes, it does. Hey, thank you so much for the super chat, Sydney. I thought she told Nick that a high functioning person wouldn't pair with a low functioning person. How could her percentages be so off? Actually, I believe what she says is that they can't feed each other. Like they can, that's why I said she was wrong. She said a high functioning woman or a high functioning person is not going to attract a low functioning person. And I said different in value, but a high functioning person won't attract a low functioning person. I said that's cap. Yes, you will. You can attract them. But however, it is when you understand what you're looking at that if you really are high functioning, you can step away and preserve yourself, because people are going to present to you what they want to present to you. It's not your responsibility to be able to scope out if they're pretending or not, like at every turn. You should allow that to show itself to you, and then you make the decision at that point. What ends up happening usually is women get so emotionally, or people period, get emotionally invested in who the person is portraying. And so once they realize that's not who they are, they're already locked in, and it becomes the drug thing where you're trying to get the high from the first time. You're trying to get them to act like they did at the beginning. And we all do this, okay? Like, you know, those of us that have been in these situations before. But I don't know, Sydney. I don't know why her percentage is so off, girl. It's a lot of confusing shit going on. But you are right. That's what she said on Nick Cannon. Candy but sweet, thank you for the super chat. Most times men that enter therapy have issues with emotional intelligence. Thank you for another super chat. And to be honest, a lot of women enter therapy because they are struggling in their relationships, or struggling with what they feel versus what they've been taught. And that's another thing. Because a lot of what women have been taught is a contradiction to our own self image, our own self validation. Everything external kind of teaches us to find issue with ourselves. At some point, women try to stop finding issue in themselves, starting trying to love themselves, and you find out that a lot of what you've been taught is bullshit that makes you put a lot of shame and guilt on yourself for whatever reason, so that you will play into this system in the way that this system wants you to play it out, which a lot of the times is becoming a wife and a mother so that you can have children that will give to the businesses in the prison industrial complex or wherever else they turn people into slaves. All of this shit is set up for you to get into whatever relationship you need to get into so that you can have children that can become slaves to this system. That's the point of it all. And when everybody can remember that, they will remember that a lot of what you're being taught that for an overall goal, and it has nothing to do with your own self-development. Thank you for the super chat. Acknowledgement is the first step during healing. So with her logic, more women have awareness enough to seek out solutions to what is it? Cyclic problem. cyclic girl. Like, she's close, not 100 though. I'm with her when she's right. I am too, girl. I have clocked the time she's been right now. Okay, we on that. We on that. Okay, thank you for another super chat. Boo doesn't want to be used for money, but is making sure that his only value to his kids and mom is his money. He didn't wife any of them. So what purpose does he serve? And that's what I'm saying. You can't complain about how the only thing being valued about you is your money when that's the only thing you use to make yourself of value. You don't try to be anything else for these women. Erica, my love. Okay, did I read this one? I read that one. I think there's another one that you sent. I'm gonna read that one. Okay, Lola Dane, thank you for the super chat. Haley Bailey, DDG, girl. Don't even get them started. Okay. Lucky Charms, thank you for the super chat. Men who have money, typically they don't work on themselves emotionally. So this is why they attract low functioning women. This is Cam. Absolutely. Absolutely. And a lot of times they want low functioning women because those women validate them on their high value shit. Right? This low functioning woman is not going to know herself. She's not going to have confidence. She is going to put the value ahead of the function. So she's going to feed into all of your bullshit and you'll feed into all of her bullshit. That's why a so-called high value man can be low functioning, but that's the truth of the matter. You're not really high functioning, Cam. You're low functioning, which is why you will then attract a low functioning woman who really is more, she's functioning better than you at the end of the day. Okay. But she's still low functioning because she will let you come in and usurp all of her shit. You know what I'm saying? She will let you take control of her life as if she's not a whole human being, grown ass woman that's been taking care of herself since before she met you. That's weird to me. Lucky Charms, thank you for the super chat. Okay. What's the next one? Chanel Morris, thank you for becoming a member. Jay Jersey, thank you for the super chat. Black Wife Effect, I know that's right. Erica Zaniro TV, y'all make sure y'all follow my girl. She is my fave. Thank you for another super chat, boo. Men are taught to approach relationships like a transaction from the beginning. That's why they feel entitled to your body when they buy you a drink. That is so true. F. Abdul Rahman, thank you for the super chat. I hope I said it right. But Dr. Bryant will never see the third option. Stay single. Her ideal man is so rare that it is unlikely she will find him. Listen, she sees it because she's single. That's why I said she's low-key inconsistent in what she's showcasing versus how she's lived. She's lived smarter than what she is, teaching to the girls. Thank you for the super chat, Melody. He is so resentful that a high value woman. Hold up, where my music at? I feel like I want my music right now. Thank you, Melody. He is so resentful that a high value woman is on his show and calling him out for being low value. He sees himself in her criticisms and is bothered. Absolutely. And also the fact that she would never date him is upsetting him because men like him feel like everybody wants me. That's why I don't know why y'all argue when people talk about the Russell Simmons and them of the world. The mentality is everybody wants me because I'm a nigga with money. So how can you tell me no? So the lack of self-awareness will cause them to coerce and push themselves on women that really do not want it simply because in their minds they can't fathom that you will not want them. They're a nigga with money. Okay, Erica, thank you for another super chat. Romantic love isn't the only type of love that a human can experience, and romantic love is often based on a fallacy anyway. So that's not even the real love that you are seeking to experience. And that is very true. First of all, you really be seeking love of yourself, but you don't recognize it until you recognize it, right? But also, I feel like a lot of the times you might need one relationship in order for the other relationships to procure if you are a person that's open-minded. So what I mean by that, I have found that my platonic relationships with my friends have grown in times when I've been going through emotional, romantic problems. You know what I'm saying? But that's because I'm in a space in my life now where I reach for my friends instead of just kind of sticking in my relationship and staying inside my house. Now I'm going to call my friends. I'm going to say, let's go out. Let's go do something. I'm going to go spend time with my friends and I will be fed in that way versus in the romantic way all the time. So for instance, when I was out of town, there's no lyrics. So there is no romantic partner out there. It's just me. And now I'm lonely. But you know who comes to town to see me because they love me? Black Witch Yaya. Okay. Black Witch Yaya comes and sits with me and spends the day with me. And I am fucking rejuvenated and able to move on from that day and be better than I was before she came. You feel me? Like you really have to value your other relationships if you really want to have a balance in any of this shit. Because I be hearing you, Erica, I do, but girl, listen, we'll talk in the DMs. Okay.
Is
Relational.
emotions.
Yeah, which
you
is
see what I'm saying?
emotional.
Like
Yeah,
I unlock these things
yeah.
when there is a transaction here where it's like, okay, even if I'm low functioning, what picks up my slack is the ability to be high value.
There you go.
And then, which goes back to my point, to a woman won't do that for a man. And that's just the reality.
Won't do what part?
She won't go to the depths of understanding like, yo, even though I have a high functioning man,
Okay.
if he doesn't provide value, then that function will run its course. Because if you're dealing with
do you hear him as a man with money being mad that if he did not have money, these women would not want him? We tell y'all this shit all the time. We tell y'all the same shit all the time about these men. This nigga is literally sitting up here right now in this moment, eyes crossed, looking like a fucking fool, just saying yet again, even though I'm a man with money, I am angry and resentful that if I did not have money, these women would not want me. But what you don't seem to understand is there is nothing else to like about you. And if you want to be liked for something besides money, how about you try being likable? How about that? But you don't put any real stock in being liked or being kind to women or doing shit just because it's nice to do it, not because you want something back from them, something that would actually add value to you in another way. Because it's not always about money and what you can provide for somebody. Sometimes it's how you are with them. That's why
high function and
end up with broke men sometimes, or men that don't have as much money as them, is because they will get tired of how they are treated by men with money, i.e. Candy. Okay. And I'm gonna use her as an example because Erica always talks about her being sugar mama. Okay. But Candy said before she got with Todd that she was tired of dealing with men who was on her same tax bracket, who were at the same level as her money-wise, because they don't have time and they want her to be bending to their will all the time, like she not a fucking boss with a business and shit to do as well. That is why you will go and find a man that's not on the same level as you, so that he doesn't expect you to be bending to him like that. That's why. Because men with money expect for a woman to be acquiescing everything simply because he has money. Girl, I'm going to let him finish this statement and we're going to end it here, and then we're going to come back for part 2 later.
a high value woman, as we've identified her to be, those things will then need that matched. And more times than not saying that it's not capable or incapable of happening, these things have a deadline where it's like, okay, what are we really doing?
But I also, that goes to my point of saying that pain needs things, trauma needs things, healing wants. So when you have a woman who is healed and ain't perfect, okay, not perfect, just healed, done the work, she would be able to sustain any relationship that she's in with another human, regardless of where they are, functionality, value-wise, who is also just willing to sustain it, because she doesn't need him to do anything. She knows how to attach to the things that she wants in him. And from the beginning of meeting him, before we got to being married and being intimate, I've already identified, I want that, and that in you. We're talking about now, not tangible things. I want these things in you. These 5-hour conversations we have all night after I've seen clients for 12 hours. Baby, that recharges me to get up and kill the day. That's more important to me. I'm just speaking, maybe it's not me, but that's important to me. When I come home and I'm able just to lay up under you and you're funny as hell and start joking and I wasn't in no mood to joke, but you light me up, that's what I want in you. That's what I want. And so my healed part is picking the parts that are now feeding the healed in me. So I don't really need you to do anything outside of the functionality that I'm wanting from you. Now, when you come in and say, I say to you, baby, I want to go to Bora Bora, and you say, you know, daddy can't afford that, right? Do I turn and say, you ain't daddy? Hold on. Or do I do like Monique does with her husband and still call you daddy? Now, if you're asking me, subjective, whoever I choose, wherever he is, high or low or medium value, I hope he's a hybrid like myself, he's daddy. And I love him. And I'm choosing from a place of being healed now. So I'm choosing what I know that I want long-term and not need for the season that my pain is in. See, I chose.
Okay, so I'm gonna stop it right there, and I'm gonna just say what she's saying. And that's the thing. What she's saying by daddy is she is saying that if this man is feeding me on adequate levels, he doesn't have to have more money than me. I'm still gonna pedestalize him and treat him as if he is the head of household, daddy. That's what that is. When women are calling a man daddy, it is because they want that man to be pedestalized even more than he already is. So when you calling him daddy, it's because when he's not daddy, y'all are equal. But in this society, you have got to act like the man is above you in some way. And when women are making more money than the man, they have got to placate his ego, not only for him, but for the world. So that's why in a situation with Monique, where you're making more money, and the only reason he's making money is because you're making money, but yet you are acting as if this man is above you. This man is like a daddy, like this man is securing you. When at the end of the day, no, you're securing him, but you are submitting and acquiescing your power in the relationship because he's a man and you want him to feel like he is above you, even though technically he is not. It's not about sex. It's not about sex. It's not about the daddy part, or in sex, like, oh, that, no, that's not what it's about. Okay. That's why I don't even say that. To me, you could tell she has daddy issues because I would never refer for real, to a man I'm fucking with his daddy because that's gross. I had a daddy. I don't want to envision Jerome when I'm thinking about fucking somebody. I just really don't. No, thank you. Okay. So because I don't have that same absence of a father figure in my life, I'm not looking for a father figure in my partner. And see, that's what a lot of the issue is. She says she don't have no daddy issues, but to me, you're looking for somewhat of a father figure in your partner if you are referring to him as daddy. Period. You are trying to make sure that his fragile ego is protected by putting him on an even higher pedestal than your spouse, than your husband, than your man, than your mate, because apparently that's not enough. You're too high up. So even if y'all are on the level playing field, you have to scooch him up a little bit more and think of him as a daddy. He's the head of household. Now, every other time she's talking about this as a situation where I have my strengths, he has his strengths. I have my weaknesses, he has his weaknesses. That's what she's talking about most of the time. But then when you refer to the situation as, oh, he's still daddy, that means that if I love that man enough, I'm going to pedestalize him and I'm going to put him above me either way. And for Cam Newton, that's upsetting because for Cam Newton, the only reason he's been pedestalized is because he has money. So yeah, I'm going to end it right there. And we're going to come back for part 2. Let me write this time code down in case I lose it. Okay. We are an hour and 24 minutes and 34 seconds into this shit show, girl. And I will be back. Okay. And I feel like I'm going to do this in, I think I'm going to do it in a public live again. I think it'll be a public live again. But I definitely feel like I'm going to come back with a part 2 to this. All right. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Erica, everybody, thank y'all so much for being in the chat, for sending super chats. Hold up. Let me make sure I read all of them. I am Diva Nicole. Thank you for the super chat, boo. There's a whole debate on Twitter right now where men are literally mad that women are saying that Boris Kojo is more attractive than Steph Curry. The men feel we should find Steph more attractive because he is worth more. Do y'all not see how y'all are arguing against y'all own self-interest, brokies? Like, you're not a millionaire. Why are you arguing on behalf of a man to be richer? No, baby. Steph Curry's not more attractive than Boris Kojo because he has more money. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, especially when Boris Kojo is married to a equally beautiful woman who is equally successful. Like, I love their relationship because they're so equally yoked. It's ridiculous. Them people look alike. Them people was in the same shows together. Like, yeah, I love Nicole and Boris. Okay. Doc Prime, thank you for the super chat. You out here giving a good word this Saturday. And my other favorite, Erica De Niro, is in the chat. A great listening Saturday. I've enjoyed myself, girl. I'm about to go downstairs and start my drinking now. I feel like I've done my work. Candy Ryan, thank you for the super chat. What works for me may not work for you. I know that's right. Okay. Absolutely. Do what's best for you at all times. Okay. Of course, I support city girls. What do you mean? Of course I do. I support women doing whatever the fuck they want to do. That's their business. That ain't mine. Why don't you? All right, y'all. See